Biohazard Brothers Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Biohazard Brothers Podcast. I am your host, Kenjira80, and this is my co-host and friend, Colin 255. We have a great show today. Just the two of us. This is our first episode since our second episode without a guest.
True.
So today it's just us, and we are going to be having a big discussion about one of the greatest fucking games ever made in the Resident Evil franchise, and possibly of all time, arguably one of the greatest games of all time. This game is very special to us. It's very high on our tier list. It's been ported innumerable amounts of times, and it has gotten a remake treatment recently that was arguably even better than the original, but it depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
That's right. Today we're talking about Resident Evil 4. Yeah, we got something that might interest you, stranger.
What are you buying?
That's right. Yes. Before we get to that, though, so we took a little week off. We had some issues going on. You know, each of us dealing with illnesses.
Yeah.
We're all better now. Well, you're better.
Yeah.
I got things are going better for me. I personally wasn't sick. I was a family member, but we've been playing some other games outside of the Resident Evil games. I've been playing some Symphony of the Night. You've been helping me, guiding me through that. And
you've never actually beaten it before, have you? Like, this is your first time?
No, never beaten it before.
You're playing a classic, all-time classic, Symphony of the Night, Castlevania.
Yeah, and even it's got horror kind of tropes to it. You know, it's like that horror.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily a horror game,
no,
but it's got the horror elements.
Yeah. It has elements to it, but it's not like a scary
and so
game.
I'm like, I'm gonna try it. So and I had a rough start, but now it's starting to pick up, and I'm liking it.
That's awesome.
Also been playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on Xbox.
I haven't played it yet. PlayStation.
Very good game. It's a very good game.
It's pretty good.
It's not in my purview of the kind of games I typically play, or that I'm known to play, especially on Twitch. But this one, I'm really loving it. And
I'm definitely gonna play it at some point.
With that being said, especially if it comes with PlayStation Plus. With that being said, Resident Evil 4 is on a grand scale, kind of like an Indiana Jones or a James Bond adventure. I've said this. This is like the James Bond of Resident Evil games. This game is massive as far as story. It's epic. It's a long game, and we're going to get into it today in detail, both the original and its counterpart. The original Resident Evil was released, I believe, on January 11th of 2005.
I don't know the month, but
then its remake. Yeah, it was January 11th of 2005. It was released in the United States to critical. Well, it was very divisive amongst the community, but over time it became critically acclaimed. The mechanics were changed up in this game from a isometric top-down fixed camera angle perspective that people were used to with the original 4.
Yeah.
And then it went on to become one of the biggest games of the year, and I believe it might have won a game of the year that year too.
I don't know.
It was released on GameCube.
I was in 9th grade when it came out, ninth grade, I think. So
yeah, I believe that Resident Evil 4 went on to win a Game of the Year award that year. Don't quote me. I'm pretty sure at least it was nominated.
I'm sure it won, but I don't know either. All I know is that I was in 9th grade, so I was in high school, freshman, and I was like a super shy kid, but that was one of the few times ever that I talked with so many different classmates in so many different classes about the game, because everybody and their mother was playing it. You know, like everybody was playing it.
Right.
And there would be people talking
everybody
about
except
it
for me
and loving it. Yeah, but you
everybody
still
except for me because
Resident
I had
Evil,
got
at the time.
Yeah,
you just didn't play that.
I mean, when I would see the magazines, like the Game Pros or whatever that it was in, or Nintendo Power or whatever they would feature it in. You know, when you're at the video game store, and it would show the different how the camera angle was different, and it was kind of a turnoff because it wasn't the Resident Evil I was used to. But
course,
I was wrong about
of
that.
course. Yeah,
I was
yeah.
wrong.
Oh no, same here.
It's basically the same control system. It's a tank control, just over the shoulder,
Third
and it
person
revolutionized over the shoulder
and
gaming.
third person shooters, and
Yeah,
you know how many
absolutely.
games that
This is what started
inspired
it.
just inspired so many. Dead Space is a big one that it's like
A
the
big one,
developers have
yeah.
come out
Dead
and said
Space.
they were heavily inspired by Resident Evil 4 when they made Dead Space, and I'm sure there's dozens and dozens of other games out there that were inspired somewhat, you know, in that time period from 2005 to 2015. Throughout that whole next decade, I'm sure there were dozens and dozens of games inspired by RE4. Is it Gears of
Yeah,
War? I never played it because I'm not an Xbox guy, but isn't that kind of like RE4, like in a way?
it's kind of over the shoulder. I played the original 2 Gears of War. It does have a camera angle that's kind of over the
So, yeah,
shoulder,
I'm
so
sure that
I'm
even if
pretty
they've
sure
never
it
come
got
out,
its influence.
yeah, if they've never come out and said it, I'm sure they were inspired at least somewhat by RE4. Like there were so many games that probably were. But yeah, I was
Oh
like
yeah,
you.
so this game,
I didn't. Sorry, I didn't.
you're
I
fine.
played it when
Go
it
ahead.
was brand new to the PlayStation. I had to wait until it came to the PS2 to play it, but which was also 2005, I believe, just later in 2005. I don't know. Do you happen to know
Right.
when?
When it came to
Yeah,
PlayStation and
yeah, when it
2,
came to PlayStation.
I believe it came into play on the PlayStation 2 either later that year or the next year. I want to say later
I think
that
it's later
year.
that year, but yeah,
It
maybe it
wasn't
was.
a very long exclusive
Yeah,
for
yeah, maybe
Nintendo.
it was 2006, so maybe it was 2006 the first time I played it. I don't remember.
I'm pretty. If it wasn't 6 months to a year later, is my guesstimation.
Yeah, so I played it. I played it
Um,
pretty much like the first day it came out on PS2. I finally got a chance to play it, and I remember from going into it and just being like, "What the fuck is this?" Because I had never seen the actual gameplay before then. I had seen commercials of the game, like I remember seeing trailers on TV for Resident Evil 4 and being hyped for it, but I'd never actually played it or even seen it because you know it was a much different time back in 2005, 2006.
yeah.
YouTube was just starting, and I didn't even have a YouTube account. I didn't get a YouTube account until like 2008 or something. Um,
Now video games, whenever they come out, they're everywhere
yeah,
on
yeah.
YouTube, on the
But I remember
internet, and
thinking like, what the fuck is this shit? What the fuck is this shit? This is Resident Evil 4? We're going from RE1, 2, and 3 to this? And I just, you
yes,
know, I'm younger, and I just had such a negative opinion on it. And it was like, all right, but I'm gonna play it though, of course. And it only took about 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes maybe, 45 minutes, and I was hooked. Like it didn't take very long for that sour attitude to turn all the way around to a positive one, and I was just like, oh my god, this is the shit. Fuck yeah,
so
RE4.
this game actually, it went through some changes, much like Leon's first outing in Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation
Yeah,
1, where like halfway through the development of the game, they actually, I think they brought Shinji Mikami on to fix the story for this one, and then they rehauled the game. Originally there was like supposed to be like a haunted house and supernatural, and a feel to it, more supernatural, like the Hook Man, the infamous Hook Man.
and that's
Let's see what else. What was that?
I was gonna say that's what you're getting at is that they did a lot of rearranging with it, and like they scrapped some stuff. I think they had to scrap a bunch and like kind of start over with it or something at one point. I don't know. I
Yeah,
might be
they
wrong about
that
that,
yeah.
but
Well,
the gritty
Well, that's
details.
what I'm
But
saying. They think they brought Shinji Mikami, and he wasn't initially on the project. I'm not sure, but from what I've heard, he was brought in to fix the story, and they rehauled it because they were like, you know, pressed for, like it was already behind schedule for release,
yeah.
from what I
Hmm.
understand, and what I remember, and that's whenever he come up with the Resident Evil 4 we
And
got.
because of all that, we
Now,
got Devil May Cry out of all because
yeah,
Devil May
yeah.
Cry started out as
Among
RE4.
other games too. I think there was a few other IPs that
You
came
ever
out of
played
that
Devil May
too.
Cry, the
Not
first
just
one?
Devil May Cry. No, don't really, no, never
If
really got
it,
into Devil May
I
Cry.
never really I played them each once, but if you ever play Devil May Cry 1, it's going to be funny because you'll be able to hear all the RE4 sound effects because there are still some sound effects in the game that are straight up RE4, Resident Evil 4.
Now, Devil May Cry is a Capcom
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
right? So Capcom's pretty famous for reusing assets from other games,
Well,
so
it's
I'm
not
not
even just
surprised.
that. It's just that Devil May Cry literally started out the development of it
Was
was
Resident Evil
RE4,
4.
and then they changed it. They were like, "This is too like," because I think they were gonna have Leon wield a sword and shit, and they were like, "Nah, we're not gonna go down that route." They changed their minds or
Yeah.
whatever, something like that, anyways. And then that's why they changed. They didn't want to just completely throw it all out, so they reinvented it to and remade it into Devil May Cry, and then they kind of split off another path to do something different with RE4. Something like that,
Yeah.
anyway, is the story. Some of these little details might be wrong that we're saying, but that's basically the gist of it, anyways, is how it went down. And thank God for that
Yes.
because a
And
lot of people love RE4 and a lot of people love Devil May Cry. So I think I worked out like absolutely for the best of both worlds.
and with Resident Evil 4, we took a different direction as far as story. Uh Umbrella had been defeated and brought down by off well, it was nobody. It's been touched on in the lore and the canon after the fact of the game, but it was essentially Umbrella's brought down in a cutscene, and that made a lot of like the diehard like trilogy fans really upset that we didn't get the culmination of Chris, Leon, Claire, and Jill bringing down Umbrella. So it was done basically off screen. So this kind of like is like a joke within the community that we kind of poke fun at, that oh well, they could have did this but they ended up doing this, but hey, we got what we got. And Resident Evil 4 is, like I said, it's one of the all-time
It
greats.
is. It truly is.
It's a game that it never loses its flavor, even after subsequent plays over the course of, the last, oh, what, 20 years now that the game's existed.
I've played it pretty much
You
multiple
never,
times every year
yeah,
since it's come out. I've played it. I go back to it all the fuck. I mean, you've seen me on Twitch. I go back to it multiple times a year to play it. Love that
yeah.
fucking game.
So let's dive into the game, Colin. We'll lay the table for the we're gonna set the table for the story here. Leon S. Kennedy is now a government
I
agent.
just want to show off that
Uh
real quick.
oh, okay.
My
Yes, there you
RE4
go.
poster.
The OG.
It's all beat up and dirty and shit. My room is nasty. I need to clean it, but there it is.
And then I got my remake
I got
Leon
a
right here
Yoshi next
next
to
to
him.
me.
Yep.
Uh Resident Evil 4 finds Leon S. Kennedy now working for the United States government.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the division he's with. It was just on my mind a little bit ago because I looked it
FBI.
up and I
No, I
forget.
don't know. I don't know
Well,
either.
no, he's with like
Special agent.
he's with
Yeah.
the Special Forces agency. He was trained under uh a character that we'll get into. We're not going to spoil that right now. Um, During Operation Javier, which was, I'd love to get a game about that.
That would be cool.
So
Yeah.
Operation
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Operation Javier was they seeing Leon Kennedy and
Well,
and his
let me say
team with the team
we
leader.
kind of did get somewhat of a game about that Umbrella Dark Side Chronicle or Resident Evil Dark Side
Yeah,
Chronicles. They did dive into that in that game, but I wouldn't say that's a game about that. It's just a game that includes some of
it
that.
yeah,
A
it's just
modern
in
game
the game.
that the whole story is revolved around that would be awesome, is what we're saying.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, like a proper Resident Evil 4 style
Yeah, it could be
Operation Javier.
called Resident
So
Evil.
they go
That's
into a
exactly what it
South
could be called.
American
Just Resident Evil 4, or
op
just not even 4. They could drop. Well, if they included the 4, it would probably be better for sales wise. They could call it RE4, Operation Javier, whatever you said, and it could be
yeah.
like a prequel to RE4 with Leon and question mark question mark question mark. We're not going to spoil the other character, even though everybody watching already knows who the other character we're talking about is.
Right. So
Be about
they
them
go
too.
into a South American village that they get intel that there is a use of bioweapons, that a warlord there has unleashed bioweapons, and they're sent in to destroy the cartel and the bioweapons. So that's where the Operation Javier comes into play, and that's basically like Leon being thrust from as a survivor in Raccoon City to a bioweapons hunter, basically working for the United States government, which leads us into RE4. We find the events of RE4 after Operation Javier that the president's daughter, Ashley Graham, has been kidnapped by the Los
A bunch of
Illuminados,
assholes.
and yeah, who are planning to infect the president of the United States with a parasite that they've unearthed called the La Plaga and dominate the United
La
States
Plaga?
and take over the
Los
world.
Plagos?
Yeah, La Plaga, Las Plagas, La Plaga. Um, this game is it's very it's different as far as like what people were used to with Resident Evil 1,
Absolutely.
2, 3, and Code
And even
Veronica.
just video
The
games in general, I
Ganados,
think, for the most part, like,
yeah,
it's
the
very different
Ganados,
at the time.
yeah, the Ganado are they're more higher function than zombies. They can work together. They can
And they
communicate.
aren't
They can use
zombies. I'm gonna say
weapons.
they're not zombies. Even Leon himself
Not
says he
zombies.
says it at the beginning. If you
Well,
examine the very first one you kill, he's not. Doesn't he say like he's not a zombie? Dot 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 or something like that. I think
yeah.
he.
Well, he's not a
Yeah,
zombie.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Even Leon himself says.
So you you start off with police officers, and you got the flamenco music, and then that's when you get the like the brief description of what happened, Umbrella's fate, and then what's going on with Ashley Graham with the president's daughter and his mission into Spain, which doesn't very much look like Spain how I would imagine Spain to
I'm
look.
so bad with
It
like
looks a little bit
all of
more
that, so
like
I wouldn't even know. Like I'm so bad with
yeah, it looks a
everything
lot
and
like
just everything like that.
maybe something like Ohio or
That's it. I don't.
Michigan or like that in the Midwest, or like I don't know with the mountains and
I
stuff.
believe you. I think I've heard
Maybe
criticisms
even
like that
like
about it before.
Tennessee or something. Yeah, it's
But
a
whatever.
it's a weird
It
setting.
can be. It's
I don't know.
forgiven, I
I've never
think.
been to Spain, so I could be wrong.
Yeah, yeah, that too. But
So maybe there's parts of Spain that look
I
like that,
think
but
people
it's
that
supposed to
focus
be.
stuff
It's
like
supposed to.
stuff like that, it's like who cares really? Like it's not going to be perfect down to every last little detail as long as the game is fun to play and engaging,
Yeah.
which
Well,
RE4
it's got to be
definitely
dark
is.
because it's got to keep in line with. It's got to keep in line with like the dark feel of the universe. So, hey, it
Yeah.
works. I've never been to Spain. Maybe people in Spain like I don't know any place in
I
Spain that looks like
I've
that,
only
but
ever
I
been
don't know.
outside the United States once.
So this game takes place in Spain, right? And this is the first time I
Blasphemy.
believe. No, this is the second time that we're outside of
Yeah, because of Code Veronica.
because Code Veronica was in a South
And I don't
American
even know about
island or
Survivor
whatever.
because I haven't played it yet. I still never played RE
I
Survivor.
don't really remember where that
Who
takes
cares? That
place. I
does,
think
that's not
I don't
canon,
know.
I assume.
Yeah.
So who cares about that?
Um.
Wait, damn, we just
So
we
you
just pissed
go.
off all
So
the Survivor
Leon
fans. I just pissed them all off by saying that. Who cares about Survivor?
Leon goes into this village looking for the president's daughter, and he comes across these new type of zombies called ganado, who, as I mentioned before, they're a little bit more higher on the tier of activity than a
They
zombie because
function,
they can
yeah,
give chase. They're
they
high
function
functioning.
more
Uh,
like humans that want to kill, like
yeah,
that are on like meth or some shit.
yeah. I've heard that this game is very comparable to like things like The Wicker Man with its feel because this is folk horror. This has got a more of a folk horror feel to it. And the tones for the game are like gray and browns,
Yeah,
and it looks like
it
it's
started the brown
like
age gaming.
rainy and fallout.
Yeah,
And these graphics were revolutionary at the time. This came out on the GameCube, and it was very
yeah,
cool.
yeah, and the game
Why
looks
don't you
great.
tell me a little bit about your? Why don't you tell me a little bit about your first experience playing it?
Well, I did a touch up on it a little bit earlier by saying that when I first started playing it, I wasn't super into it because I'm younger. I don't like change. RE1, 2, and 3 were three of my favorite games ever. and and Code Veronica, and such a drastic change from that to RE4 was like, okay, I immediately don't like this. This is so different. This doesn't feel anything like Resident Evil. But I also said that it didn't take me very long to warm up to it. Hour tops. Like I think probably by the time I was done with the big battle in the village, which let's be honest, everybody dies. Everybody who ever played RE4 died to the village section probably a dozen times before they finally finished it. Because it starts off with such a
Yeah.
strong you fight a few here and there on the way up, but then immediately you're just thrown into one of the biggest battles in the game. With so many of them coming after you, and then you run into the building that has the shotgun and a grenade and some shotgun shells, and he blocks the door, and then you hear the guy revving up the chainsaw outside, and it's just like, oh fuck, now we got a chainsaw guy coming after us on top of all these other guys, and it's just like, holy
Dr.
shit.
Salvador.
Dr. Salvador?
Dr. Salvador.
Yeah.
Dr. Salvador.
Or just chainsaw guy.
Or I don't know if that was the official name of him or if that's just something the community come up with for him.
I don't know either. I just always called him the
I don't know.
chainsaw guy, but
The Chainsaw Man, yeah.
But yeah, it was during that, like probably my 10th attempt on that, and when I finally beat it, that I was like, okay, this game's pretty fucking sick. And then, going along further, once I started upgrading weapons and shit, once I found out that there was an upgrading system, that's when I was like, because I love shit like that in video games. Like, I love Final Fantasy, so I love leveling up and stuff. I love getting experience points in
Yep.
games and leveling up your stats or your weapons or whatever. So once I found out you could do that, I was like, okay, I'm sold. This game's fucking
And that's
awesome.
a mechanic that this game introduced us that we weren't
That's
used
true,
to
yeah.
by giving us the
The
merchant.
merchant, yeah.
Yeah,
Not enough
and
cash,
he was
stranger.
a welcome. What a welcome character
yeah,
he was.
he's
You know what
great.
I mean?
Well, yeah,
He
such
was
a
actually
legendary
voiced
character that doesn't even have a name. He's just the merchant,
the
and you don't
merchant,
ever see his
and he
full
was
face.
voiced. He was voiced by the voice actor who voiced Leon Kennedy,
Which was what's his name? Do you know?
Paul Mercer.
Paul Mercer did. That's right. Okay, is it him?
Yeah, Paul Mercer did the voice for this one
I always
in
get
Resident Evil
confused.
4 original. And the remake,
I thought that was
I
Paul.
can't tell you who does the
I
merchant.
thought. Wait, no. So you're saying the guy who voiced Leon in 4 is the 1 and 2 also?
No, I was going to say, oh no, the guy that voiced him in 2 was Paul Haddad.
Yeah. Okay. So
he passed away.
Yeah. He only voiced
he's
Leon
the one
in
that passed away a few years ago,
Yeah.
like 5 years ago. Then the next Leon was Paul Mercer, and then the next one after him was Matt Mercer.
Wow, what a coincidence! I never thought about that. So Paul.
Yeah.
Wait, so Paul.
Well, it's Paul
Mercer, and then Matt Mercer.
It's Paul Mercer, and then it's Matt Mercier.
Or Mercier.
Like
okay.
He has like a I think it's pronounced
backwards.
Mercier.
I think it's Paul Mercier and Matt Mercer, because Matt Mercer, I'm pretty sure, is just Matt Mercer.
Okay, all right. So maybe
you
it
might
is
be right,
that,
though.
but
Sorry. That's not.
I don't. Well, either way, they're similar in their names, and it's like it's weird because you got Paul Haddad, and you have Paul Mercier, then you have Matt Mercier, whatever.
I think
it is.
they all did an amazing job too. Every single one of them.
Yeah, and he started. He did The Generation, and then the CG movies after that.
Oh, really?
And then up until I believe Resident Evil 6. I believe he was in that one, and that was the only video game he did.
I think was Matt
I could
Mercer.
be wrong. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was Matt Mercer in the Resident Evil 6, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Because they brought him from the CG movies.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
see what you're saying, yeah.
Paul Mercer does the voice for Leon, and he did the merchant. And that was a fun little tidbit that I didn't know until like a few years ago, whenever we first met, when I started playing it hardcore on my Xbox and shit. This game is it's what can we say about this game that hasn't already been said
pretty
before?
much nothing. We're just going to be rehashing stuff that's if it's been said, whatever we say, it's been said before. But we just want to gush about one of our all-time favorite games and one of the best games ever made. So we're big RE fans.
So you were talking about the basically what is, I wouldn't call it a cold opening. It's just the intro, and you got this intense battle with these villagers who are trying to kill you. And then all of a sudden, once you survive that battle, then you get the bell ringing and it draws their attention away and they become in a trance and they all just start filing into this
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
church or this well not a church but like a building like a little chapel
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
something
And then
and what do we get after
we
that?
get one of the
What's the famous
we
line?
get one of the best lines in video game history. Where's everybody going?
Where's everybody going?
Bingo.
Bingo.
So good. I'm so glad they kept it in the remake, dude.
Oh
They
man.
had to. It's so
Yeah.
iconic. It's
I,
stupid, but it's so
I think that
iconic
they
and
thought about
fucking
cutting
great.
that, but then they didn't.
Yeah,
I
probably.
think they recorded at it after. Yeah, they were thinking about just not doing it because they didn't want to fuck with it because of how iconic
It
it
is
was, and
very
they were like,
iconic,
we just
and
can't do
it's
that.
funny, and you know, it's
But
supposed to be fun. Just like,
I'm glad they did.
yeah, like I'm glad they kept it because you know, it's just fun. You know, just have them say it. Why not? It's just one little line.
Yeah.
It's silly, but it's so iconic. I'm glad they kept it. There's other lines too they kept. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there's other moments and like little things they kept. In fact, a lot of RE4 remake is they it's very similar to the original. Like a lot of like all the story beats are there. That like it there wasn't really anything they cut like at least not off the top of my head. I can't.
Well, other than
I
U3
was
in
gonna
the
say U
cage,
three,
no,
but then
there's really
that
not.
got brought over to
But they brought that back in separate
yeah. So
ways.
it's
Yeah,
like all good.
they made that. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way that they handled that remake was
I think it was perfect. Like as perfect as you can
it's
get.
fucking perfect,
I do
man.
think so.
As perfect as you can
And
get.
I'm a
Yeah.
diehard
I
OG
mean,
RE4 fan. Like I've been playing it since the first day it came out on RE on PS2. So it's not like I'm some newbie to the
it's so
series or
much
anything. I've
so.
been playing the series since not the late '90s. But
It's so much so that I struggle with like whether or not I like the original or the remake more.
I kind
Honestly,
of did
like
for a
they're
little bit
like
too. But
right on the fucking same level for me,
I think
man.
they're both 10 out of 10 games. And I know I say a lot of these games are 10 out of 10, but it's because we're talking about some of my favorite games of all time. I said RE2, 3, Code Veronica, and now this are all 10 out of 10 games. And the remakes, except for RE3 remake. Yeah. But it's because they're all up there as like in my top 20, top 30 favorite games of all time. So of course they're going to be 10 out of 10s to me. But like, and can I just take the time I want to reiterate something. I can't remember if I said it in our Code Veronica podcast, but when I said Code Veronica,
What's that?
when I said Code Veronica is a 10 out of 10, I was talking about I personally think it's a 10 out of 10. But if I
Yeah,
was
I
gonna
mean,
rate it
the listeners know these ratings are subjective. They're our
exactly, if I was
opinions,
gonna
and
rate
we
it
by no
objectively
means.
and like if I was gonna rate it and review it to the public, I would give it no more than an 8 out of 10, like maybe 7, 7.5, something like that, because like
Well,
there
see,
are
I think
big
that's why people
flaws.
don't like ratings because it is always subjective.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I know that there's
subjective.
lots of
What one
flaws in that
person calls a
game,
10, another person can call an 8.
but
You
that's
know what
not
I
the
mean?
yeah exactly. But that's not the case for RE4. I would objectively and subjectively give it a 10 out of 10. Whereas Code Veronica, subjectively I would give it a 10 out of 10, but objectively it's probably more like a 7.5 out of 10, 7.5, 8 out of 10. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I can't remember if I said it in the Code Veronica video that we did. That I just wanted to make that clear that the scores I give are my own personal scores. They're not like scores that I like if I was working for IGN, I wouldn't give RE Code Veronica a 10 out of 10, you know, because that's not right. It's not a 10 out of 10 game. It is to me, but it's not to the general to the gaming world. It's just not. There are many flaws in
Yeah.
it, too many flaws in Code Veronica for it to be a 10 out of 10 objectively. As much as I love it.
So getting on back to the game that we're
Yeah,
talking about
sorry about that.
today.
I just wanted to get that out there.
We we find ourselves after we made it to the bell ringing,
Yeah.
the Ganados go away. What comes next?
Well, you kind of you go and you run through this little farm, get a bunch of gold chicken eggs while you're there. You go past that, you eventually. Oh well, I was actually going to skip something, but now let me talk about this. You get to a section where they roll a big boulder down, and these are the worst sections of the game, and they're not even that bad, but these are quick time events where you got to like mash.
Which is taken from the original Resident Evil with the boulder
Oh,
chase.
I'm still talking about the
Very
original. All right, what were you talking
no,
about?
no, the original no,
Oh,
the original
RE1.
Resident Evil
Oh,
1.
yeah, yeah.
The RE1 had the boulders too,
Yeah,
so
but you
that
didn't.
kind of
You just
like
ran away in those.
kind of a yeah,
You
it's
didn't
just
have.
kind of a trope.
Yeah, but you didn't have to mash a button like crazy. But anyways, yeah,
Kind of a trope that I wonder if they kind of were inspired by Raiders of the Lost Ark for that for those boulder sequences
I
because
don't know, but they're my least
Steven
favorite part of the
Spielberg did
game,
that
though.
first way back in '81. Oh, the boulder sequences
Any
because of the
sequence
quick
where you
time
have to mash
events.
the button like that and run away, they're my least favorite part. They're not bad, and there's few and far between,
Yeah,
so
but
it's fine.
that's a
But
product of its time,
yeah,
though. You know what I
and
mean?
that too.
That was QTEs were a big thing in the early 2000s.
When I think
They
of
really were.
QTEs, I think of RE4 and like RE5 and RE6, and I think of God of War 1 and 2. Those are
I mean, the remake's not without its QTEs that are like there's one or two in it, but they're not as onerous of a task to like
yeah.
pull
It's
off.
because they know
If
people don't want
am
that
I
shit.
right?
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
I could have swore
People don't really want QTEs. And if there are gonna be some, make it very few and very far. Like I know you need to break up the monotony a little bit and give the
yeah.
player something different to do every now and then. But RE6, let's compare it to RE6, where there's QTEs out the fucking wazoo, just left and right
Well, I mean,
QTEs all the
I
time.
was referring to the Verdugo fight in remake. Is you have to have a QTE for that for him to be able to do the dodge.
Wait,
You know, so
oh, in RE4 original?
the remake when you're fighting, is it the Verdugo, the big black guy with the white head, the right hand man of Salazar?
Yeah, I can't remember if
You got to
there's.
freeze them with the
Yeah. I can't
freeze
remember
with
if
the nitrous.
there's QTEs in the original. I can't remember in the remake though. To be honest,
There
I
is in
think
the
there. I
remake.
don't.
Yeah, there
Are
is.
there?
It's not. I mean, it's kind of a
I thought you
QTE.
just ran up to
It's
the
a
freezing. Yeah, maybe. I think you're right. I think you're right. I don't know.
whenever he whips his
You know,
tail,
I
you
have a
got to
bad
kind of
memory,
dodge it.
dude. So like,
I
just
know,
to throw
dude.
that out there
It's
to anybody
okay.
listening,
I'm still kind of playing it right
I've played
now.
it literally dozens and dozens of times in the last couple of
Yeah.
years it's been out, and I still forget
So
it.
they kind of couldn't get away with not getting on
And that's
QTEs
fine because
on the
like the
Verdugo fight.
alternative is I don't even know what the alternative would be. Just getting wailed on.
I don't know.
But and that see like that's fine. But when you bog the game down with QTEs, RE6 has like the most QTEs ever in a game. RE5 has its fair share too, but I think six has more. I'm pretty sure. I think six has way more. And the reason why I say I think is because I had somebody in my chat when I replayed both those games last year saying that RE5 had way more, and I was like, dude, I don't think you're right about that. I think there are literally twice as many QTEs in RE6 as there are to RE5. But anyways,
Well, that's because
that
it's twice the game though.
that's true too. Yeah.
there's there's a lot to it.
But RE4 did it much better. But still don't like it though.
RE4 and RE5 are basically the same kind of game, mechanically,
They are
and
very
I
similar.
don't know why people throw.
Well,
I don't know why people throw shade at
because
five
of the AI,
and
they
praise
don't
four.
like the AI, and it's kind of a copycat of a better
Well, you're
game.
not supposed to play with the AI. You're supposed to play with an
But
online
not
partner,
everybody
and
did
that's
that.
the
I
whole
didn't do
reason for
that.
the
For the
game.
first like five
I
times I
know.
played the game, I didn't play with somebody.
My first
Trust me,
experience was offline.
I know we should wait till we get to RE5 to talk about this, but I didn't. I can say this at least. I didn't mind the AI too much. I thought it was fine. Like I mean, trust me, it's not fine. It's not the best, and there were definitely problems. But I didn't. I think people are making too big of a deal of it. Like I don't think it was quite as bad as people were making it out to be. RE5's AI, like Sheva.
Well, I got it on deck, man, for you to play with
I'm
me
down, yeah.
because
'Cause I've only ever played it
I
co-op
like to
once
do
ever,
the co-op on it.
so I'm down.
It's fucking great,
Yeah,
dude. I've done it a few times. I love it.
I've only ever done it once, and all the other times I've played it, which are a lot, I've played RE5 over like 20 times probably in my life. Um, and I've only ever done a full playthrough once with somebody else, and that's it. So I would love to play with you. But back to RE4. After
Awesome.
the boulder section,
Back to RE4,
we meet
yes.
another
So
amazing new character in Louis Serra. Louis.
yeah,
He's who we find him. He's all, let's see, in remake or no, in the original he's locked up in one of the like wardrobes, and you let him out. Uh and then he says
the,
his famous line, "You got to smoke?" First,
you got to
but
smoke.
he wants his smoke right here.
Let
And
me
then
ask you
Leon's like,
something. You got to smoke?
"Got gum." And then
Did Leon say got gum in the remake too?
I don't remember.
I don't
But
remember either.
I don't
I
know.
rescued him a long time ago. I've already made it to the point where he's about ready to die.
But
He's
then
going to
right,
get killed.
but then right after that, we meet another amazing character, the Big Cheese, Mendez.
Oh
What is
yeah,
it? Torres Mendez is his name. I think it's
Torres
Torres
Mendez,
Mendez, and
the village
yeah,
chief. Yes.
but more known as the Big Cheese.
But let me go back to Luis for a
Okay,
minute
yeah.
because I don't want to just touch on him.
No, of course. I was just saying we
Luis was Luis was kind of a goofy character to me in the original, like his
definitely
dress. He was, the Latin lover boy, like filling out like the stereotypes
it's
of a
God, he
of a
had so
Latin
many
male.
funny lines, cringy, and funny.
And he would, but it was a great character. I liked
Yeah,
him overall, but my God, the way they handled him in Remake was
I
just
think I agree.
so much
I think
better.
he was a better character in remake, and I'm gonna throw this out there.
And I like how.
I like the
Go
original
ahead.
more overall. I've decided after playing both. Well, after finally playing remake, I've played it so many times now. It literally shows you how many times to play it. Like it keeps track. I think I have over 30, 40 playthroughs of it, and I have even more of the DLC because I actually speed ran the DLC separate ways. But I have
Hmm.
like over 30 playthroughs of remake at this point, RE4 remake, and hundreds and hundreds of playthroughs of the original. Um, and I think they're both 10 out of 10s, but I like the original more. So this is coming from someone that likes the original more. I think they did do a better job with the character Luis, and maybe even the characters in general. I think they did a better job. And I think that's been consistent with all remakes because
Absolutely, I
I think the
agree with
characters are
that.
better in like RE2 and RE3 remake also. Like that, if the remakes have done anything
Well, they're
right,
more fleshed out
yeah,
for a
yeah.
narrative
Don't get me wrong,
perspective.
I love the originals more than the remakes, especially RE3. But the characters, I think they've kind of done a better job on
And what I like that they did
in a lot of ways.
With the Resident Evil 4 remake was that they actually gave a tie-in to Umbrella in the original games by having him be a researcher for Umbrella
Yeah,
rather than just a researcher with really no purpose, but he was sort of responsible for this creation of not he wasn't responsible for the creation of Nemesis, but I think in the lore he was responsible for the like the progenitor, the catalyst to what led to the Nemesis
really?
using the I think so.
I
I
don't know
could,
anything about
like I said,
that.
but I'm not going to claim to be 100% correct. At least that's in in my head canon. Let's
That's what
say
it's.
that's how
Yeah,
it is.
I mean, it makes
Yeah,
sense.
but I mean, I think maybe like his research with La Plagas had it evolved into like finding other parasites like the what is it, the Any Alpha, Nemesis Alpha parasite. So, or maybe that was a whole separate division, but I believe he was with the same. All right, so this much I'm pretty sure of. He was with the same division that did create the Nemesis. Okay, whether or not
Mhm.
he was involved in the creation, I don't think so. Canonically, I can never say that word right. Canonically, I believe he's not
Hmm.
responsible. I thought
Interesting.
he was in my head canon. I thought he
I
was
never
because it
really
would
thought
make
about
it
it like
even
that.
cooler.
I
Yeah,
remember you mentioning something like that to me a few weeks back, but I never really thought about it
yeah,
before.
yeah. Because I've done a little bit of digging into it, and I come to the conclusion canonically, he didn't create the Nemesis, but his research was similar, and I believe he was part of the same division that did create the
Well,
Nemesis
that's all. Like
project,
that's not
or
for
they were
sure though.
affiliated.
So
Yeah, but I like anyway. The point of it is I like that they gave him this umbrella researcher
in
backstory.
remake, yeah.
They tied it in. They tied it in. They tied up loose ends with the game. They
I also
polished it
like,
up and made it more and made it more sensible. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Because let's be real, the fucking story of Resident Evil 4, when we love this game, and what I'm about to say is by no means any shade thrown at this game.
It's
The story is
it's goofy. It's
nonsense.
goofy. Yeah, it's silly.
It's
It's
goofy.
silly. It's
You
so silly.
literally are
But
trying
that's
to
why I love
all right, so
it.
they're playing. They're all right. Hear me out. Their plan is to infect the president's daughter
Yeah.
with a fucking
And then
parasite
send her back.
and then turn her
Yeah, that's
loose
so silly.
on the president to infect him, and you spend your game trying to rescue her and bring her home, and they spend the game trying to
Yeah,
stop
and then
you.
even try to kill her,
It don't make no
and even try to
sense.
kill her too. Like remember when you first rescue her in the church, the goons from they have their crossbows aimed at them, and they try to kill both of them. And it's like if you kill her, your plan fails. So why are you trying to kill this girl? I mean, I know an arrow
Yeah,
through the
it's
shoulder or
silly.
something might not kill her,
That
but you risk it going through her neck or head or something.
Yeah, but if this game followed video game logic, we wouldn't have a video game.
Yeah,
So
it's silly, it's goofy, but I think that's all one particular reason why a lot of people love it so much. It's like it doesn't have to be. It's so
yeah,
serious, and you're turning your brain off to go into this world and be a badass hero that saves the president's daughter. Like, don't think about it too much. It's not. This is not a piece of media. A piece of is that the right term? Is this not a piece of like of entertainment that you should be taken so seriously? Like anybody who takes RE4 so seriously is loser, and I don't want to talk to you ever again. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
no.
But no, seriously, don't take it seriously. Like it's goofy, and that's fine. It's perfect the way it is.
I wanted to say that since you made a mention of it a minute ago, that this game really established Leon as the poster boy of the Resident Evil
Kind of
franchise
did,
and a
yeah.
very big badass, a hard ass.
Before that,
You
yeah,
know,
before RE4, I think they were trying to go with Chris, but like Leon, the popularity of that game, I think that kind of pushed Leon to the front to be
yeah, I think they
character
just
that.
wanted to bring him back.
Of course,
I think they
they
just wanted
brought
to bring
everybody
him
else.
back because
They brought everybody else back once
he
already.
was liked. Now, like I said in Resident, my first introduction to Leon in Resident Evil 2 back in 1998, was not overly impressed with the character because he was just an everyday guy like
How
me,
fucking dare
like in my
you?
mind.
Just kidding.
Well, he was I've established that I thought he looked goofy, and I was like, well, you know, this guy doesn't seem like somebody. He's a rookie, and he doesn't seem like somebody that has like any special ability to maybe survive this, and I half expected him to be killed off by the end, but no,
An RE2 original?
survived.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
he survived on my
Imagine if
first
that would
playthrough
have
ever.
happened.
I didn't, yeah, yeah, I know, right? Well, no, he ended up becoming a fan favorite, and it was really established with Resident Evil 4. He became legendary, and he's one of my favorite characters in the whole franchise. I absolutely love
He is.
Leon. Him and basically anybody that's affiliated with him, which leads me into the next topic. We are, even though we may have known it because of for those who have read all the end files of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, we are surprised and graced with the return of Ada Wong.
Oh yeah. We should get talking about the rest of the characters. Yeah, Ada Wong shows up in this game,
Yeah,
which was a shock to me personally, and I'm sure a lot of other people because she's supposed to just like with Wesker and RE1 showing up in Code Veronica again. Like you think they're dead, like and Ada and RE2, you
right.
think she's dead if you play through all the scenarios. Like, yeah, she throws that rocket launcher down in the B scenario, and it's like, Ada, is that you motherfucker? But like, you don't know for sure, and so it was a surprise to see Ada in RE4 remake or RE4 original. Sorry, it was a surprise to see her again, but a much welcome surprise, I would say personally. I think I like
Hmm.
that they brought her back. Now they
Well,
can't bring
wherever
back.
there's Leon, there's going to
That's
be
what I was just
Ada,
about to say.
apparently.
Yeah,
So,
nowadays, like if we get RE9, if we get Leon and RE9, you that's pretty much saying we're gonna get Ada probably too. Like I'd be surprised if there was no Ada. So the rumors of Leon being in potentially being in RE9, it might as well just be rumors of Leon and Ada because, like you just said, if we get one, we get the other nowadays. But yeah, Ada's a great character. I love Ada in RE4. She's a badass also, and
and in this version, I don't.
just like with RE2, we don't know for sure what she's there for, or she's like a mystery character. We know that she likes Leon,
Hmm.
And she likes
Well, we kind of do
Fesliyan.
know what
Ooh.
she's there for. They kind of this was that we kind of do know what she's there for in the remake now
Oh, of
because
course.
they kind of gave they kind of gave her something to do a little bit more than just showing up to steal,
The amber.
another
They brought the amber. That was something in remake
yeah
that wasn't in the
sample.
original. The amber. You have the amber, Luis. And
And she's working with Wesker, but that I don't think that was established until after the GameCube version on PlayStation
yeah,
2
and that's. Can I say something
with
about that?
Project Ada.
To all
Yeah,
the
sure.
people that were upset that RE4 remakes DLC Separate Ways was $10, let me just say that it was $10, and they were upset at that because they claimed that it was free in the original. No, the fuck it wasn't. Our Separate Ways was not free in the original because guess what? It didn't exist in the original. To play Separate Ways, if let's say you bought the original RE4 on GameCube, if you wanted to play the DLC Separate Ways, you had to buy not only a whole new game, the RE4 all over again, you had to buy a whole new console.
You had to buy a whole new
So you
system.
had to buy a
Yeah.
whole new system and a whole RE4 again to get Separate Ways. So that's way more than way more than $10. Not only that, but they RE4 remakes DLC was fucking phenomenal in my opinion. Another 10 out of 10. I fucking loved it. I loved it so much that I spent over a month speedrunning, excuse me. Speedrunning, like hardcore speedrunning. I don't hardcore speedrun stuff that often, but I was number 2 on the console leaderboards for a little while. Like that's how dedicated I was to it. I was literally one spot away from having the world record on console any percent. But that was back when it was first. Now I'm probably like 6th place or something. Nothing special, but but anyways, that was just me bragging. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
Damn.
don't I
And
don't
I
get to
got a
brag that
hairball
often.
apparently in my throat. I can't clear it out.
Oh shit. Yeah, I don't get to brag that often, so let me have my moment to brag when I get them, few and far between. But yeah, back to what I was saying. RE4 remakes DLC.
Colin likes his own posts.
Yes, I do.
No,
I
I don't. I don't ever see you post jack shit on
like
anything.
it all.
Hardly.
I like my own
Yeah.
videos. I like
I only ever see you put updates on X every now and again. Um.
it, but yeah, back.
Yeah. Seeing Ada was a really was like you already knew it was going to come anyway. You knew
Did we?
they couldn't bring back Leon without bringing
I
back
didn't
Ada.
know. In the
Well, I mean, we
original, you
kind
said?
of did.
I
Yeah,
had
I
no
mean, did
clue.
we
That was a
kind of?
complete surprise to me.
You had no
I had
clue.
no when I
Well,
but I played it when it was brand new. So you played it much
yeah,
later than that. I had no clue we
I
were gonna
didn't
get
play
Ada in
it.
that
Yeah,
game.
I didn't play it until 2009, I believe. Whenever I played it on the Wii for the first time, which is, in my opinion,
The best
the
version.
best way to
Yeah,
play it.
I've heard that before because
Yeah,
of
I
the.
love that. I love that version. As a matter of fact, Anthony uh, of Let's Talk Resident Evil, just a couple of streams ago, was doing the Wii edition on the original hardware, and it was really a good treat to watch. And I'm like, oh man, I remember that because like whenever you got to run away from the boulder and stuff, you got to go like this with the nunchuck and
Oh, really?
all this crate. And yeah,
I'm sure
it's
it's
just
a
it's really
great way to
fun.
play it, but I don't think I'll ever experience that
Yeah.
in my lifetime. I don't have a Wii, and I probably never will. But yeah, I'm sure it's an amazing way to experience it. But yeah, back to what I was saying. I
Oh,
was
there's my drink. I'm looking for my drink.
I was gonna get to the voice. A lot of people didn't like her voice in the DLC also. Um,
Who?
Ada's
Ada?
voice, and I see
Oh, because
why.
it
It
wasn't
was
the actress from the original
yeah,
remake
oh,
or from the
Resident Evil
from the
2.
Resident Evil 2
Yeah, it
remake.
wasn't. And
Yeah.
I kind of agreed, like she didn't do it for me quite as much, but the more I played it, the more she grew on me, and I think she did a good job. I don't think and if you don't like her, it's not her fault. What are you gonna do? Like,
I'm gonna keep it real, man.
I
It never fucking bothered me, and I don't know what the big
it didn't
hoopla
really
was
bother me
about
that
it.
much either.
You know what I know
I
what it
did
is?
think
It's
she
just
wasn't.
fanboys being fucking fanboys, dude, and
Yeah,
they need to
yeah.
shut the fuck up, man.
It never really bothered me, but I did agree that I don't think she was as good. But now that I've played through it multiple times, like millions of times, I I like her. I think she did a really good job, and I don't think she deserves any hate. And I wouldn't mind if she came back and reprised her role. Or I also wouldn't mind if they brought back RE2 remake Ada. Both are great. But yeah, back to what I was saying. That was stupid. That people were bitching about a $10 DLC for Separate Ways when in reality it's actually a much better deal than the original PS2 or the original RE4. You know, Separate
I've
Ways.
only played it once.
It's
When you got it
ridiculous
for me,
that people will just find
I
stuff to
bought
bitch
it
about. I
again for the
swear to God.
PlayStation. I haven't. I want to get through my run of on the PlayStation 5 on professional first before I play it because I've already beat it on standard. Now I want to beat it on
Do
professional.
it.
And I only pick it up intermittently right now because I am working on those other two games that we were
Yeah.
mentioning at the beginning of the show. And so I was playing a little bit of the other day, but I played it to death since it's come out. I probably spent more hours since it came out on March 24th of 2023. I probably
Uh,
spent more hours. Yeah, I spent more hours on that game than any other game in my library since it dropped.
it's a good one.
And that is including on the Xbox and the PlayStation.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I've played a lot. I have, I don't know, 400 hours on it now. I think 400 something.
I fucking love Resident Evil 4 remake.
It's
I think that
it's.
it's yeah, it's there's nothing
I
you
was waiting to see
can
what you were gonna say before I said my thing.
there's nothing you can say about this game that hasn't been said already, man.
Yeah.
Like this
No, I
remake
think
is just
RE4 remake. If you
pure
say RE4 remake's the best remake of the Resident Evil
perfection.
series, I have nothing. That's fair. But you can also say RE1 and 2, like RE1, 2, and 4
Nah, I
remakes.
would say it's rivals one. Okay, so here's the thing. Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 1 remake are basically a one for one. Resident Evil 2 is not a remake, folks. It is a reimagining.
Yeah, well, we call it
Okay,
remakes
it's
to
a
simplify it,
retelling.
but yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I get it. Resident Evil 3, dog shit. No, it's all right.
But it's
Uh,
not a good
it's all
remake
right.
or
It's
good reimagining.
but
Or
it really has
it has lots of
like
flaws.
it's really not that similar to the original game.
Uh, it's fun,
It
but
has some feeling of the
yeah,
original game, but
it
it
wears
like
the original's face, but it's not the
compared
original.
side by side, it's almost
Yeah,
unrecognizable.
exactly. That's what. Yeah,
I still think it's a good
it
game,
wears the original's
but
face, but it's a
Resident Evil
pretender.
4, Resident Evil 4 is not.
It's the opposite, pretty much.
It's not a remake that is one for one,
But it's pretty
but the
close.
changes that it makes,
Are
it's
welcomed.
pretty damn close. And the changes that it makes make
Yeah,
sense. They're more accessible, they're more practical, they're more for the narrative, they make more sense. And gameplay wise and just that nice little sprinkle of new content in a familiar game just makes it enjoyable for a first time play, especially for any veteran that has played to death the original Resident Evil 4. And I think that they did it perfectly. I can't find any other word for Resident Evil 4 remake other than it's near
it is.
perfect,
Yeah,
if not perfect.
about as close to perfect
But
as you
enough
can get.
about that. Let's get back into some of the game,
Yeah. Let's get back to some more
some of the
characters and
characters.
more enemies that you fight. And there's a new enemy type, a really large enemy. The how do you
Oh
say it? I
yeah,
say Gigante, but it's El
I
Gigante.
think the correct way to say it, yeah, I think the correct way to say it is El Gigante,
Yeah, but whatever.
but
However you
El
pronounce it,
Gigante,
the big
the
guy. Yeah,
giant,
just let's call him the big
the
giant.
cave troll.
Yeah. What a fucking
Yeah, so you
legendary
got.
monster. The first time ever seeing him, holy shit, that
Mhm.
was crazy. I don't know about you, but you got to remember, I was in ninth grade. Not only did I play it before you did, because, like you said, you didn't play it for years till after it came out, whereas I played it
Yeah,
in like late 2005 or early 2006 for the first time, whenever it came out on PS2. And holy shit, when I got to that part, whew, god damn, that was something because, I mean, fighting an enemy of that.
I think it was basically like, all right. So in them days, Resident Evil, when Resident Evil 4 came out, I can't help but think this, that Lord of the Rings was very big in the theaters, and you had the cave trolls and stuff in the
I
movies,
haven't
and I
watched Lord
wonder
of the
if they
Rings.
kind of, you know what I mean? So I wonder if they got the idea from
I'm
that.
sure
I
they were
don't
probably
know.
inspired by other stuff. I'm sure, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways, RE4, El Gigante, El Gigante, El Giganto, big motherfucker. shows up, and he's like, you don't fight enemies that big in previous games unless they're like the final boss or some shit. And then here this guy comes, you're not even a third of the way through the game, and he just bursts down through, squashing the bad guys, the Ganado, and it's just like, oh fuck. And you start fighting them, and then you get a faithful companion dog if you saved them to come help you out with the fight, which is
Yeah,
really
yeah, we
cool.
forgot about the
Yeah,
dog.
which as long as you save him, he'll show up and help you out.
I like the little bait and switch that they did in the remake where you think that the fucking dog is dead because they find that dead dog in a trap and it's already dead. But then you don't actually save that dog till after you get through the manor,
Hmm.
and that's when you save him.
I
The
don't know.
the
I don't
the
remember that.
chief's house.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that little bait and
what a
switch.
legendary
Yeah.
enemy. There are so many legendary like monsters in this game. There's one that we haven't even talked about that doesn't show up till later. That's just anyways. I think he was worth mentioning. What like 10 out of 10 monster design. So he was so good they brought him back in RE5, except made him worse and more annoying, but still he was such an iconic monster that they brought him back in RE5 with the stupid fucking turret section fight they had to do with him. I don't know if you remember that.
What was it again?
You sit on the back of this truck shooting him, you and Sheva in RE5, and you're shooting El Gigante, pretty much. He
Oh
looks
yeah,
slightly
yeah, I
different, but
remember.
he basically just likes he basically looks like a improved graphically version of El Gigante. He's big, and if he gets close to your truck, he'll stomp you. And if you're playing on professional, he takes you out in like 2 or 3 hits, and it's the hardest section in the whole entire game on professional, and you have to beat it on professional to get the fucking trophy, and that was always really annoying. But well, I eventually did it twice. Actually, no, I platinumed that game 3 times. Anyways, sorry, bragging again. Didn't mean to. But anyways, iconic monster, and then that leads up to eventually where at the end of the village section you get to face off with the Big Cheese himself, which is another man. Just talking about all these monsters and characters back to back just makes me appreciate the game even more.
And that's whenever he transforms.
Yeah,
Hey, listen, I just want to say this. I guess if I had 250 trophies, I'd be bragging about it too. You know, it's kind of a
250 platinum
it's kind of
trophies.
a it's yeah 250 platinum
Well,
trophies. That's
249.
kind of that's an impressive
Thanks,
feat
man.
to
I
somebody
try to
like
have a no
me.
life.
I got 5.
Yeah, but you have a life. I don't have a life, so. And I've been
5.
working at it since like the mid PS3 days, whereas you've been
Well, I mean,
not
on
that
my
long.
other profile, I had 1. I never really went for like
Yeah,
trophy
exactly.
hunting
Yeah.
until I
So
until I got the PS5. But I'm gonna keep it real. Some of the Resident Evil games are really hard
yeah, they
platinums.
are.
Like they're like
Especially
we're talking
Revelations
like
1 and 2
8, 9. We're talking about like 7, 8, 9, and 10
up 10.
on a scale of
Yeah.
10 of 10. Yeah, 7, 8,
Anything above
nines.
a 7 and above is ridiculously hard, pretty much, and a 9 and above is
Yeah,
the hardest out there, pretty much.
which is why you'll never see a platinum on my Resident
Don't
Evil
go for
list because I
Revelations
don't.
the Revelations 1 platinum. That's arguably the hardest Resident Evil platinum in my opinion. It's brutal. Don't even bother. It's too stressful. But all the numbered entries are very doable. They might be hard and challenging, but in a very good way. Like RE4 remake and RE7, an RE2 remake. Those are all they're challenging-ish, but they're very doable and very fun to get all the achievements for, all the trophies. Um, but yeah, so that and then fighting the Big Cheese, who another iconic battle. A little bit of annoying, and if you decide to take the rocket launcher into the battle from the merchant, it's kind of sucks to do it. Even though I do that sometimes because the rocket launcher one shots anybody. But the problem is the Big Cheese has 2 forms. So if you rocket one of his forms, you still have to fight the second form legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or fight the first form legit and then rocket the second form. Um, that's another thing.
I've never used the rocket on that on the original. I've never used the rocket to fight the Big
Yeah, I
Cheese
used to use rockets all the time on bosses,
until
but I don't really do that
well,
anymore.
let me clarify that. I've never used the rocket until I tried my professional run,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
and then I had to.
Can I
Yeah.
brag one more time? I want to brag and say that I finally, for the first time ever in my life, did a no merchant.
Oh God, I
Professional.
suppose.
Sorry. I'm just so proud of
No, you're
myself.
good. Go ahead.
I was only bragging because I was just proud of myself. I had never done a no merchant run. I'd never even attempted one until
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
saw me.
I
Like
remember that.
this
I
was a
watched
few
you do
months
that
ago now, like 5 6 months ago. I did
on the original,
yeah
and then you
on
did.
professional.
Have you done? Did you just do a no merchant run on remake too?
No, I'm going to do one, but I have never done a no merchant.
Or you're talking
So
about doing
yeah,
it?
now that I've
Okay,
done,
I remember you doing the
I did no
original.
merchant normal mode like over a year ago, but that was just to test the waters and see how difficult it was going to be. It was easy as hell for
Mm.
someone who's played the game.
Colin braggadocious,
Okay,
everyone.
sorry.
He
It
did
wasn't easy. It was only easy as hell because I
it.
have no life and I played the game a million times, not because I'm so
No,
fucking
it's all
good.
good.
But
I
professional mode was a different story. Holy
I
shit!
don't even have the balls to try to do that on no
Do it on
merchant run on
normal.
professional
Do it
on
on
the
normal. You
no
can
on
do
the
it. It's not that hard.
yeah on the original. Yeah, no, I'll do it on remake. I don't know about original.
Honestly, I'm more scared of remake than original, but like I said,
Yeah,
I played original so much, so that's probably why.
I don't know because I'm gauging it off of I've played both on professional
Mm.
now, and
I
I
think
don't
remake's harder.
find I I don't find remake to be harder
I
because of the
think it is.
new game plus. But you're talking about a different like a category where you're starting
Yeah,
fresh.
yeah, yeah.
You're not using new game
No.
plus shit.
Start
I won't play
starting
professional without new game
starting
plus
fresh,
stuff.
and you can't talk to the merchant at all, which means you only get the handgun, shotgun, and the magnum if you choose to find it later with Ashley, which you should. And there's one rocket
What are
one.
you buying? I ain't buying nothing.
Yeah, no, yeah, you can't talk to him at all. And what I did was just kill them all to ensure that I couldn't talk to them. I would knife them. Um, it's really like because of the way RE4
I
works.
think you did it because you just like to knife the merchant, dude.
That's part of it. You
You
got me.
sick fuck.
But okay, let's talk about the weapons a little bit because this kind of plays into what I'm talking about. The reason why it's so very doable is because the handgun, you get so much handgun ammo, obviously, and all. If there's a crowd of like 5 Ganado right in front of you, and let's say they all have just like hatchets or whatever that they're gonna throw at you, or whatever, you shoot one in the head with one handgun bullet, and you can go up and roundhouse kick all 5 of them. So one handgun bullet results in 5 kicked Ganado all on the ground, and then you can start knifing them. So because of the way the game plays, it's not as hard as you might think, as long as you abuse those mechanics, though. And then
hmm
uh, eventually it'll get harder to do that later on because enemies have helmets. Some enemies have helmets and shit, but you have a shotgun for situations like that for enemies that have like shields and stuff. But if it's a bunch of just
Yeah.
regular villagers that are weak and shit, and you're allowed to use grenades too. Just anything you can find, as long if you can get it without talking to the merchant, you're allowed to use it. So there's even a rocket launcher later on that you can find. But the problem is you got to use, at least for me, you have to use the rocket launcher that you find very quickly after getting it because you got to remember no merchant, which means no increasing the size of your case. So imagine having no attach case upgrades and
Oh yeah,
trying to
that's
pick up a rocket launcher that takes up a third of your inventory. So you pick up the rocket launcher, but you got to use it pretty much at the next thing you fight because if you don't, you're not going to be able to pick up stuff, and you need all the health and ammo you can get. So and grenades.
I mean that's definitely well, you're not you got to kind of cherry pick what you're going to use as weapons in for that because you don't have much space to work with and you're only working with what you pick up anyway,
Yeah,
so
but you're not gonna
yeah.
not take the rocket launcher though. The one time, do you know what I'm referring to? That spot where they give you a rocket launcher for free? It's in the castle.
Yeah, it's inside of the in the castle. It's inside the
Yeah, the
case,
glass.
where the wall, where the
Yeah,
bridge. It's kind of like a
yeah.
bridge, and they come running. Yeah.
So I
I like how they. I like how they. I like how the mechanics of the. Not talking about the rocket launcher, but about that area in the remake. I like how it's set up in the remake so
yeah.
much. Like it's just like, yeah, it's very like eerie looking. I love
So
it.
on a no merchant
But
run, I would just use the rocket on the first thing that I came across that wasn't the first like mini boss type thing, which I think are the 3 knights that guard the king's thing that you got to grab. Remember the 3 knights that come to life? uh,
yeah,
and you have to fight them. And then there's 3 more that come to life. I think I use it there because that's short. That's like right after you get the rocket launcher, just to get rid of it and get 3 free kills. But yeah, because of the way,
so that's
because you can't hold on to it forever, because if you do, you're going to be missing out on so much other ammo and health and grenades. It would be nice to hold on to it for the Salazar fight, because yeah, on a no merchant run, you have to fight Salazar with just a handgun, a shotgun, and a magnum, not upgraded at all. I don't know if you've ever tried doing that. It's hard. It's
No,
hard, because the
no,
Salazar fight
I
is the one fight I love.
I don't have the skills
You
to do
do.
all this crazy
It
shit
would just take
that you
practice,
talk about.
though.
No, I
No, you
don't.
do. You could do it.
I
I
really don't.
promise
I
you
just
could.
play the games casually, dude.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you were to do
The
it, you
only
could if you practice
the
at it.
only Resident Evil game that I can play hardcore like that and do shit on is Resident Evil 2 Remake, because it's the one that brought me back to Resident Evil, so it's my favorite one.
Yeah,
You know what I
it is
mean?
so
So
good.
I play the shit out of that, and I can speed run that one and all kinds of shit. But
Not counting.
I, this one's right behind it.
Yeah.
But
All right,
it's
for
here's the
remake or
thing.
original or both.
Yeah, well, both of
Yeah.
them. You know, I lump them
Yeah.
together. This game is 4 times the length of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, casually playing,
you
especially.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. So
And you know what's
I just
crazy
casually
is
play it.
that RE6 is like 4 or 5 times long as RE4. So
That's crazy.
it feels like it, anyways.
So this is getting into a part of the game that I really am excited to talk
Yeah.
about. That you're bringing it up, is this is the centerpiece of the game. This is what puts the resident
Into.
in Resident Evil 4 for me, and that is the
I love
castle.
the castle section.
I love the castle as well. It's my favorite
Is it?
section in both.
Ooh, I don't know. I think I
Absolutely.
like the village section the best, but the castle section's right up there too, though. I think we
Nope,
can
I
all
like the
agree the
castle section
island
for
section's
sure.
the worst.
Well,
It's my least
it's not the
favorite.
worst to me. It's just it's the third act, and Resident Evil games have a tendency to fall off in the third act
Yeah, they sure do. A
just a
little
little
bit.
bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They just a little bit. It's not. It doesn't deter me from loving it or wanting to
Wow.
play them, but it just honestly it. All right, so since we brought that up before we talk about the
Mhm.
castle, I don't really feel like the island is all that bad. I never
I don't
have.
think it's all that bad
It's a
either.
little bit
Yeah,
more action. It's a little bit more action heavy, but
there are some
the
bullshit section
stakes are
though.
supposed to be
Yeah,
raised.
of course, yes, of course. But
Okay, so yeah, there are. Like the all right, and we'll get into this, but I think one of the biggest bullshit sections is where you're trying to like like bring up the doors and shit while Mike's like shooting all the guys,
that
and
is that is
like
the,
it's
that
just
is
like you
exactly
get
the section I was thinking of when I was thinking about this.
you get
It's the
fucking
bullshit. It's the
confused.
most
Yeah, dude.
bullshit section
Yeah,
of the
it
whole
is.
game. But it's
It
still fun because
absolutely
it's still
is.
RE4. It's
But it's
super
fun.
action packed, and
Yeah.
like you said, the stakes are supposed to be raised. They got to make it harder somehow. It's just that some people don't like that section because of how
Yeah, it's coming to its
you're getting
crescendo.
shot. Like no matter where you are, you're gonna get fucking shot, and it's kind of annoying and frustrating, but it's so much fun though. And I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out to be. It is frustrating, especially on professional, but you know it's fun. It is my least favorite section of the game though, but it's still
I think
RE4.
you and about just about everybody else, including myself, and by saying that it's my least favorite section of the game is by no means indicative that I don't like the island. I very much
Yeah, I
enjoy
like
it,
every single bit
but
of it. It's just I
I
like that
love I
less.
love the castle.
Yeah,
The village really like it throws you into like the folklore, but then like it just intensifies with the depravity of this cult once you get to the castle and you really get to meet some of like the cult members and
yeah,
shit. And I think it was particularly handled very well in the remake.
absolutely.
With you have what are they, the cult leaders wear the red gowns with the ram's heads and stuff with the
Uh,
Gloria la Plaga, where you start getting
that was
woozy and shit.
perfect. That was good,
Dude,
man.
that was fucking great, man. Like I'm like, oh shit, and Leon's all fucking dizzy, and
It's so
it made
annoying, but I
it.
hate those fuckers.
It's so,
They
but
are
it's
they are
so
top priority
good.
targets. Go for them first. Kill them
Absolutely, they
immediately,
are.
otherwise they're gonna be fucked. I just realized we skipped one big monster, Delago. We didn't
Yeah.
talk about Delago,
Oh God, you're
and we
right.
didn't
We
talk about the
didn't talk
fact
about
that
it.
there's an Easter
So, all
egg
right,
if you shoot the water 6 times when you're about to get into the boat. If you,
he bites
yeah, he
you.
comes out and gives you a jump scare death. That's iconic, and I'm glad they left
Yeah.
that in the remake. Yeah, Del Lago sucks. All right,
Yeah,
moving on.
we did skip Del Lago. He's definitely worth talking about.
No, I'm
That
done. He
fucking
sucks.
what is okay? So what is that thing? Is it a fish? An
It's
alligator?
a
What is it?
yes. Is my answer to that.
A
He's
dinosaur?
all of those things. A whale.
Yeah,
He's just like all of them mixed
yeah. The
together.
Del Lago fight, and it's just another example of how the remake outshines the
You like the
original
Del Lago fight better in the original
aesthetically.
or in the remake?
Aesthetically, I like the Del Lago fight better in the remake because it makes more sense that
I don't. I
excuse me. It makes more sense that you get knocked out of the boat and you're not fucking trying to swim back and button mash. It's if you the boat has a damage meter, once it's destroyed, you're dead. I like it. It's more
yeah, it
fluid.
makes sense.
I absolutely I like it.
I
Yeah, I
just
like it.
fucking
It's not to knock the original one. I like it. I just like the remake
I
better.
don't know if it's
What it
like
did
this in
with
the
that.
original, but I'm pretty sure in the remake because I've talked to speedrunners about this. I didn't really speedrun the main game for RE4 Remake, only the DLC. So I don't know speedrun strats for the main game. I only speed ran
Yeah.
separate ways, but I've talked to the world record holder on console, anyways, uh, and he was saying that the Del Lago fight's one of the worst things about the speed run because it can regenerate its health. It's random. He regenerates his health underwater and shit, and it made me wonder if does Del Lago do that in the original? I don't know if he regenerates his health ever. I don't think he does. I don't think his health.
I
I don't
don't know.
know either, but whether he
I don't
does or
even know.
not,
I didn't ever even notice that he did in the
he
remake
apparently
either.
does. Yeah, that's why sometimes your battle can end pretty quickly if you get a bunch, throw a bunch at him before he goes underwater, or it can take fucking 5 times as long because the more he goes underwater and the longer he stays under, he's like regenerating or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's one reason why I don't like it as much in the remake. But it's fine. That's for like speed run strats and stuff, and it's just
Well,
annoying on
you
professional.
got to also add in you got to factor in the fact that there's some exploration around the lake that's introduced with the remake that makes the flavor even more, it pops even more for me. I loved that
Yeah.
shit. I loved being able to ride around in a
Yeah,
speedboat
both of them had
and,
exploration, but yeah,
a
remake
motorboat
has
on the
even more though.
lake.
Yeah, you find the
Well, I mean, in the original one, you just got on the boat and it would take you to a section. You didn't really traverse the lake.
that's true.
You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it would
You can
just
find
take
a
you
secret
there.
merchant and get some valuables over there, and then
Yeah.
that's about
But
it.
in this one, you can fucking
Yeah,
cruise
that's
all
true.
around
It's
the
definitely
lake.
better in the
Take
remake.
you can go fishing
You can do that.
because you are fishing. Oh, can you go fishing in the
Yeah,
original?
you can
Yeah,
throw those
you can get
things
you
at
can,
the
you can
I
get
actually threw my
in
lighter.
at the fish. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, and this one you can go fishing. You got to get the lunker
yeah. I was about
bass.
to say,
I
yeah,
like
the
I
lunker.
like the way it's handled way better.
I think I can agree with
Uh,
that. That the after the aftermath of
It's not
Delago
to
fight,
take away anything from the
and you
original
find the
though,
red
man. I
nine
still love
too.
it.
I like that they make that's how you find the red nine in remake is isn't
Really.
it the red nine you find it
I don't know. You
in remake.
I don't know. You're the one that said it. I
Oh,
don't
you
know.
don't
I'd
remember?
never found.
I think when you
No,
go to
I
that,
don't.
remember that
What
ship in the
in the
middle,
original? Wait, in the
No, no,
original?
no, remake. In the middle of the
In the
water after
remake?
the Delago fight, you can swim towards the middle on the boat, and you can get out on this other wrecked ship, and inside there's
Yeah, it's like a wrecked ship in the
and
middle.
yeah, I
Is
think the red nine's there, is it not?
it might be, but I thought every
We'll put a
playthrough I've
pin
ever
in it.
played, I've already had the red nine. I'm pretty sure by then because I bought it. So maybe it spawned something
It
else.
does
I don't
spawn something
know.
else if you already have it. It spawns a gold in that you can.
Yeah,
So if you
that
don't have it,
yeah, that's what I'm
so maybe
saying.
that's what it is.
I I usually I don't upgrade my guns till I get the red nine
Hmm.
because that's the one I'm going to stick with. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of red
I get the
nine,
stock for it.
let's
So you might be
I
right.
think
What
I
I'm
am
saying is you
right.
might be right.
I think
I
it is
don't
there
know
on
because I've
remake.
always just had
Yeah,
it.
I
I've
I've
always,
always
but now that I know that, I'm going to try
I
that.
like the red nine. It's not something I use a lot because it's a handgun and I like my TMP. Speaking of those guns though, just real quick, let's both shout out what's your favorite gun in the original RE4. That's not a new game plus weapon. So no Chicago typewriter, no infinite rocket launcher, none of that. But like if you're starting a fresh save, what's your favorite gun in the original?
The same that is it is for the remake, the TMP all day,
Is
every day,
it?
baby.
That's your favorite? It is
Absolutely.
my favorite too, I think, and
The
it's
TMP is
just
the
too
fucking
valuable.
is
You
an
can
animal.
break the fucking game with
It's
that. one tiny little TMP bullet to someone's head,
And if I
and then you
had
can
to
go up
pick
and
a close
roundhouse kick
second,
them.
if I had to pick a close second, especially for the original, it would be the Striker, only because of the Ditman glitch
I was gonna
that
say
you
that
taught
too,
me.
except I think for me, Striker would be. If we're talking about on a fresh save playthrough, the Striker would be 3 for me, and the sniper, the second sniper rifle that you get, the semi-automatic sniper rifle,
Oh yeah, the
that would be
semi-automatic
second
one.
place for me. But only on a new game. If we're talking about new game plus, then swap those because the Striker is more valuable on new game plus. But if we're talking about on a fresh new game save file, then yeah, TMP number 1, semi-auto sniper rifle number 2 for me, and then because it's just so valuable. If you have that shit maxed out, oh my god, it's so powerful. And then number 3 would be the Striker for me, mostly because of the Ditman glitch, but also because if you fully upgrade the Striker and get the exclusive upgrade, it gives you 100 fucking shotgun shells. And you know in RE4
Mm-hmm.
original, when you upgrade the capacity, like if you have 0 bullets in the gun and you upgrade the capacity, it'll actually give you those bullets. So not only are you buying the upgrade to increase the capacity, but you're actually buying the ammo too. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Really?
yeah. If let's say you're upgrading the Striker from 15 shotgun shells to 18, and you
Yeah.
have 2 shotgun shells in the gun. If you upgrade the capacity to 18, it'll actually give you those 18 bullets. So in the gun.
I never
Yeah,
noticed
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's
I never
people
noticed.
exploit that, and that's
That would be why you always
until
wait
you're
until
empty.
you're out of
Yeah,
shells to
exactly. Until
upgrade.
you're empty or
I
almost
see
that.
why you do it
Yeah,
now.
you wait until you're empty or almost empty, whatever. Wait till you're empty. That's why I never upgrade capacity when I have ammo in the gun, like a lot of ammo. Like if it's almost full or even half full, I won't do it. I'll wait, depending on the situation. But most of the
Yeah.
time I wait till it's empty, and that's why I don't reload the guns because there might be a merchant coming up soon, and I can wait and just fill the ammo back up with the merchant. But they don't do that.
Well,
They
weapons
don't do that in
wise,
remake though, and I was really upset that they took that out of remake. Not a
I think it's worth an honorable mention to talk about the hand cannon real quick when you get
Yeah, but
it
that's a new game plus.
with the new.
But yeah, and you
Yeah,
have to
but
five
it's
star
so.
every
What is?
fucking. It's the hardest gun to get in my opinion. I've gotten it multiple
Yeah.
times. It's not that hard as long, but you gotta practice and practice and practice. The hardest
Well,
thing for me is sorry.
I like what the merchant says when you get it. That
Oh, what
was,
does he say? Something about hunting
what are you
elephants.
hunting with that
Yeah, something
elephant?
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that shit.
Gun's not just
That
about
that's
shooting, it's also about reloading. You'll know what I'm talking about. I don't know what he says that for, but I think it's one of the magnums or something. There's a bunch of. That's
I
another
think
thing
it's the
that's really
broken
cool. They
butterfly.
give the merchant. He says different things depending on what guns you buy, and I think that's so cool. Like when you buy the. What's an example? One of like I don't know. Fuck, I can't think now off the top of my head. There's certain guns that you buy, like if you buy the Killer 7, I think he says something unique that's strictly to, the Killer 7. Or if you buy the
Yeah.
but some guns don't have anything unique. Sometimes they'll just say the normal standard schlock, but I love that there's a lot of different guns that you can buy and he'll say something unique to that gun. Like gun's not just about shooting, it's also about reloading. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Didn't he say that whenever you get the broken butterfly?
He might. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't. It might be that gun. I
I
can't
I
remember.
think it's the
I
broken
can't
butterfly.
remember. But yeah, TMP is clearly the king of new game runs. Like not counting new game plus weapons, TMP is the king because of how much you can exploit.
I
All it
I
does if
I never fucking play a game without
yeah,
it.
it's you get so much ammo for it. It's so powerful if it's fully upgraded. But even if it's not fully upgraded, all you need is one shot, one bullet, and in a crowd of 8 Ganados, shoot one in the head, and then go one TMP bullet can result in a roundhouse kick that hits all 8 of them. Like, and so you can kill 100 Ganados with like 20 TMP bullets if you really wanted to.
Hmm.
All you have to do is, you know what I mean? If you really want it, well, 20 TMP bullets and a bunch of roundhouse kicks and knife slashes while they're on the ground. But you get what I'm saying. It's so
Yeah.
busted if you use it like ideally or whatever the word is I'm trying to think of. If you do it, there's a term I'm trying to think of. If you do it the most properly, if you do it the most ideal way, I can't think of the word. It can it's just broken and so insanely fucking powerful and good. Yeah, TMP is king to me. But I just wanted to touch up on the weapons a little bit. I feel like it was worth talking about.
Yeah.
And then of course the Chicago
Well, if you're gonna, you can't go on, move on without making a mention of one of the most important weapons in the game,
the Chicago typewriter.
the knife.
Oh, the knife, yeah. The
The
knife, yeah,
knife.
that's yeah. That's what I was just saying. The knife plays a part in the TMP success because one shot to the head real quick stuns them. You go up and kick them and then knife them while they're on the ground. And the knife is very powerful in RE4. A big step up over RE1, 2, and 3 and arguably even Code Veronica, I would say it's in a step up because I don't know if it's hard to gauge how if it's more powerful than
I don't know about that.
I
Maybe,
think maybe not more
maybe
powerful, but more useful is what it is.
more
More
practically. Yeah,
useful
the
because you can
practicality
get
of it.
enemies to
Yeah,
the ground and then they just knife them. You can get to the enemies to the ground a lot easier in
yeah,
RE4. So I think it's more useful.
yeah.
Maybe not more powerful though. Um, but yeah, uh, that's something I really liked in RE4 Remake is the fact that you could use the knife as a defensive thing, and you can upgrade it.
Oh
You
yeah,
can't
that
you can't
mechanic
upgrade
with
the
the
knife in
block,
the original RE4.
the parry.
Yeah, parry and
That's so fucking
yeah,
good.
it's great. The knife is just invaluable in Remake. And of course, there's the Chicago typewriter, which is the best fucking thing ever. And when you're wearing the mafia suit that Leon has and try to reload the gun, he does his little, he like fixes his hat, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then when you do it a fourth time, he throws it up in the air, and then catches it, and then puts it on his head and does like a little pose. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Okay, I didn't know.
I've never done it because
Okay.
I've never
Yeah,
unlocked all this shit, but I've
if
seen you do
yeah,
it.
if you have the infinite if you have the Chicago typewriter.
But the game is 20 years old, so I've seen it. Like
Yeah.
I've seen it enough.
The
Yeah,
Chicago
on other people's
typewriter
streams as
and the
well.
infinite rocket launcher and then the striker are all you need on New Game Plus.
Never unlocked none of them.
And striker is the only reason you need that is for the Ditman glitch. Otherwise, you can do the whole.
I've only beat professional once,
Oh, really?
and I absolutely suck at. I absolutely suck at
It's kind of weird
mercenaries.
that the
So
hand cannon is
on the
is the
original,
hardest to unlock, even though it's not the best. Because even if you get the hand cannon, if you already have the Chicago typewriter, you don't.
what's the best gun? The Plaga
The
laser.
Chicago typewriter. Oh, that you could argue that too.
Okay.
I think the Chicago typewriter. I don't really like the PRL
The PR. What is it? The PRL 400
something
or
like that.
40
I
or
don't remember
something.
the numbers. It's obviously busted, and you can. I just never really used it that much. I don't know. I always preferred guns with actual bullets, not lasers. It obviously is busted, and I've seen people break the game with it. I just personally don't really care for it that much, and it takes up a lot of space in your inventory too. I'd rather have the Infinite Chicago typewriter in there than that. But it is a really cool addition, and I'm kind of upset they didn't include it in Remake. But it's whatever. There's other cool shit that you get in Remake that makes up for it. Um, but yeah. Anyways, so
So
the castle
let's
section.
get
Yeah,
back
let's
to
get back to
the castle
and some of the
section.
monsters that you fight there.
Because the castle section is, for me, like I was saying, is the centerpiece of this
Mm.
game. I really enjoyed the remake castle even more than the original. There were some silly moments in the castle in the original, particularly the dragon head room with the flames and lava.
Yeah,
I think that was a welcome cut, and the silly uh Gollum chase, the giant
yeah, Salazar. Yeah,
Salazar robot. Yeah, so those things, and understandably so, were removed
yeah.
from the remake for a more realistic feel, more streamlined feel.
Well, the
Um,
Salazar statue
but
wasn't
overall,
removed;
I
it
like
just was
both of them.
different. Like
Well, it was different. Yeah,
it
it was
spews
different.
fire out. They kind of combined
Yeah,
those two ideas.
and I believe that they have the dragons in the remake just as like they put them somewhere
Well, that's
else,
what I was saying.
just
They
as
kind
like
of
a.
combined it. They made the Salazar thing spew fire like the dragon, so they kind of combined those two together.
Okay, that's
But
what. Yeah, that's what it
was there
is.
dragon
I
statues elsewhere that spewed fire? I don't.
I don't know. There what they didn't spew fire, but maybe there
Drop my
was like
phone.
maybe like gargoyles somewhere. But I knew it was like they incorporated like both of them somehow in the game. But like
You
I
know, if
mean,
you
overall, it was like it's still like a cut.
um, you can destroy the Salazar statue in remake if you go up to it and throw like a grenade its way, and it'll blow. Or just some you can. I'm sure there's other ways to destroy it. I always just either
The rocket launcher comes to
infinite
mind.
rocket launcher or just a grenade if you don't have the infinite rocket launcher. can
Yeah.
destroy it, and then it won't spew fire anymore. But yeah, that's a
Yeah, I
really
knew
goofy
that. I
thing.
did that on my last
It's a
run.
really goofy thing, but like I was saying earlier, like we were saying earlier, the goofiness of the original, I love it. I love all the goofiness. So I loved being chased by the Salazar statue, only because of how silly it was. I don't like quick time events though, so but it wasn't that bad. The quick time events for that section.
Well, one of the biggest disappointments in the remake for me, well, the only disappointment in the castle, the remake castle for me was I didn't really think that the water room was as intense as it was in the
The water
original.
room. What about?
The water room, where the water room, the famous water room, where the guy, it's got the fountain spitting out, and then in the original, you got to kind of corner yourself in a little room down below and like just fend off ganados and
You're
cult
talking about when
members
you're with
trying to
Ashley
get in.
and they're all coming after you,
When you're with
and there's
Ashley and they're
guys
trying to
sniping
come
you
in
from
through the
far
door and the
away.
hole in the roof,
Yeah, that's
that
actually
there's a
tough
hole in the roof.
on professional.
It on yeah, you ain't kidding. On professional, on it's fucking tough on normal.
It's tough on
In the
professional when
original,
you're doing a no merchant run.
I didn't find it as challenging in the remake, the water room, but I did like it. It got challenging whenever you had to protect Ashley while she cranked the cranks and rose the platforms to make the
See, that's
bridge.
that's
That
interesting that
was
you
the
say
only,
that you didn't find it as
yeah,
challenging because I actually think I agree with you. I don't think it was as challenging in the remake, but that's
it
funny that I
wasn't.
say that because earlier I said I think remake is harder. So I think it's just I don't think remake's harder. I think it's harder for me because I've played the original so much that I can just play it with my eyes closed at this point. But I think
I
if I
got you.
played both games for the first time ever, like let's pretend I'd never played them and I played them both on standard difficulty, so normal for RE4 and standard for RE4 remake, I think I'd probably say that RE4 original is probably harder if I played them for the first time
Hmm.
ever this year. But it's just the fact that I've played the original hundreds of times and I know it like the back of my hand. That like I don't know. I don't know. And the fact that as if you know the exploits, it is kind of easy. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I can understand why you say that the original is harder, but I think remake's harder for me personally.
Well, it absolutely is. The original
I
water
think I
room is
I think
harder in that
yeah,
section
I think remake
because
is
it's more. I mean, I think there's more enemies coming at you. You kind of like you can't help but get cornered in that one little
yeah.
section down below,
I always,
and there's the hole in the
how
wall. And
there's
you got
that
to fend
roof,
them off.
yeah, the hole in the roof, and the where there's a
Yeah,
yellow plate that you have to step on the right.
where you guys have to stand on
I
each of
always corner myself in
the
that room
pressure
and just wait for
plates.
them to come in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah,
do. That's the best
it
strategy.
is
As a matter of fact, if you don't utilize that strategy, you more than likely will get
fucked up.
killed,
Yeah, I
or Ashley will get killed.
yeah, on professional
And I
especially.
like what they did with her in the remake as far as you don't have to share health. You just have to pick her up from being incapacitated. That
Yeah,
was
well, you don't share health,
that.
but yeah. She has her own health bar, but uh,
Well, don't you have to in the original? Does she heal when you heal, or do you
no,
got
you
to
got to
heal her
heal each
separately?
other. So if you're both in danger and you use a first aid, it's only going to heal whoever you choose. So you'd have
So
to use two full
yeah,
heals to heal both of you.
right. So she's sharing his
Inventory, yeah,
heals.
but okay.
Yeah,
I thought you meant
sharing
like
his.
it. I thought you were
Yeah,
saying if you heal
no,
one,
yeah,
it'll heal both of you. That's not. No,
no. You got to.
that's
No,
already
I was saying
five.
you got. They're sharing. Yeah, they're sharing
Yeah.
inventory.
One thing I do like is that you can
Is what
upgrade
I
her
guess
health
is what I
too.
should have said.
You can upgrade
Yeah.
her health with yellow herbs. I think that's cool. Not that it does a whole lot for her
um,
because she has such a low amount of health.
Ashley. Ashley's a little bit less annoying in the. Well, she's a lot less annoying in the remake. Uh,
Oh yeah, the Ashley section.
she,
We should probably talk about
so,
that.
well, I never found her annoying in the
I didn't
original.
find her that
Never
annoying.
bothered
She can
me.
be a
Need
yeah. When you
help.
when you
It
hear
never
that for
bothered
the
me.
millionth time, it maybe gets a little annoying, but it's not.
Nah,
People over
never
exaggerate. It's
phased
not.
me.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It never really bothered me.
I
It's
I
just like with
guess I
people
guess
talking
it
about.
takes.
You ever played Super Mario Yoshi's Island or what's it called? Super Mario World 2, the one on Super Nintendo where you play as Yoshi and
Yeah,
Baby Mario, and how people complained about
yeah.
Baby Mario crying and how annoying it is, and it's like it's not really that annoying. It's just like Just like with that, and just it's not annoying. It's not as annoying as people make out to
Well,
me.
here's a little secret that I'll share. No, I've never played it.
Oh, Yoshi's the one on Super Nintendo. I've
Yeah, I
only
never
played it.
cared
I've
to.
only played
I
it once.
I
So
never cared
I
to.
played the original Super Mario World so many times I've lost count. But yeah,
I
sequel.
hate it whenever they take a fucking great game like Super Mario World and then they change the formula for the sequel. It makes me not
Yeah,
want to
I
play
didn't.
them.
But it's a classic. People love it. I've only ever played it once, and I barely remember it, so I can't speak on it too much.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's a fantastic game. I just I don't really remember it much about it. I've only ever played it once, unfortunately.
But I'm not throwing any shade at Super Mario World or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's a good game. I'm sure it's a Super Mario World too. I'm sure it's a good game. I
yeah.
just it ain't my bailiwick. Number one and number two. The original Super Mario World's a
Iconic.
fucking is a golden. It's an iconic
Yeah,
game.
it's one of the best Super Nintendo
I
games.
don't want to play something and ruin that. Anyway, yeah, Ashley's sections in the original were simple compared to the remake. You throw the vases or whatever
Yeah,
the
three
lanterns.
of
I
three
mean,
lanterns at the
at the
enemy and they're
guys.
dead. And there just happens to
Yeah,
be
you
six
just
of
gotta
them lying
try to
around.
keep them away. Yeah, you gotta kind of keep them away, and in the remake, the tables are turned, and instead of I believe it wasn't Ashley captured in a cage or something in the original, and then you had to free her, but in the remake, Leon's the one that gets
Yeah,
captured, and then
yeah,
you got
it's
to
true.
use
Yeah, I
Ashley
never
to
even
free.
thought about that. That's true. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
that's
I
cool.
thought those sections really intensified the
In
horror
in the remake,
with Ashley
yeah,
because then we get to finally, yeah, we get to see the Armadoros come to life with the
and
Plaga inside them
you have
controlling
that
them, and
blue
they're
lantern that you can use to freeze
oh
them.
yeah, that
But then you
freezes
have to
them. Oh
use the
man,
blue lantern for a puzzle, and then you don't
yeah,
have it anymore, and then you have to run back out by them all without the blue lantern, and it's terrifying when you first do it. It's so
and yeah,
cool.
a lot of people found that terrifying and
It is
intense,
intense for
but
the first time. Yeah.
and it is, and it absolutely is. But what sucks is, and I think this is going back to what we were talking about in our first episode. Playing these games like this, you can once you get used to them, like the scares and stuff, and you know what to expect, and it's like a cakewalk. So I didn't find, and this is just because of the veteran status. I didn't find it all that scary, but I can see how people who aren't
Like big horror
initiated
fans, and yeah,
would.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
we're
you know what I
veterans, we've
mean?
seen scarier shit than that before, so it's not doesn't phase us
Yeah,
too much. But for people who are
yeah,
just
but
casual, like I'll play a horror
yeah,
game every now and then. I could
it
see how it
absolutely
terrifies
was
them. Yeah, yeah,
terrifying.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it
I've
can be
played
a
Visage.
terrifying
I've played
section.
PT. I've played Outlast 1 and 2. Those games fucking wipe the floor in terms of scariness with RE4. Like, you know what I mean? I know you never played
Yeah.
Visage, or you didn't play it that much. What about
Well, I
Outlast?
tried to. It's a walking sim, and I'm not the biggest fan of those. But
That's not exact. There's
it
puzzles. There's puzzles in it.
well, it has puzzles, but it's a walking sim. But what got me was
It is jank.
I hated all the
It's a little
mechanics
jank at first,
having
yeah.
to work. If they would have just made it to like a normal first person game
I think I agree.
where like
Yeah,
you know
they could have made it
it
better.
would have been far more appealing
But
to
once
me.
you get into it, it's
But it
so
wasn't.
good. It's such a good experience. It is these. I'll go on record right now and say I think Visage is still the scariest game, survival horror game I've ever played in my life. And I've played a lot. I've played all the classics, Evil Within, Silent
Okay,
Hill,
that's fair enough, dude.
fucking.
But I'm gonna have to disagree with you and say I don't think it's scarier
But
than
you
Resident
didn't
Evil
play
2
through it all,
remake.
so I
Because
don't think you can even
yeah,
like when you
yeah,
finish it, then you can come back and tell me that. But
I
until
guess I guess you got a
yeah,
point.
I
I couldn't play it, man.
promise you, it is fucking terrifying. Oh my, I don't even thinking about it just gives me the chills. And
You might be right because
it,
I found that first section down there in the basement
you
of the
didn't. I
house.
promise you didn't get to anything. You didn't get to anything.
Yeah, that was scary enough, and
You
I
didn't
want to
get the
get
shit. I
into it.
promise you, you didn't get the shit. It
I
gets
want to get
fucking.
into it, but I just
It
can't.
gets insane, bro.
I can't get past
I
the
understand.
fucking
How about
the
this?
management of the
Maybe use a
inventory.
guide so you can just so you can experience it without having to put up with all the bullshit. Maybe just use a guide or something so at least you can get through the whole game and experience it because
I'll tell you what, if I see it on PlayStation Plus on the
Hmm.
store, PSN store, for if it comes down to like $5 or something, I'll buy it and I'll try it
Comment
again.
down below if you agree with me, say in that Visage is the scariest horror game of all time, or if you disagree, comment down below and tell us what you think your
Yeah,
favorite, or not favorite, but like, because I'm not saying Visage is the best survival horror game. I'm saying it's the scariest. I don't think it's the best survival horror game of all time. Definitely not. It's decent.
best
It's
survival horror game of all time is definitely Resident Evil 2.
yeah, it's a good game, but it's not like it's not the best. But I do think it is the scariest. And Outlast 1 and 2 are also up there as two of the scariest games ever that I played. But I think Visage tops them all. Anyways, we kind of got off. Sorry, I got off track there a little bit.
That's all right, but
Dude, we might have to make this a
like
two-parter because I feel like we still have so much to talk about.
uh,
I'm ready.
yeah, we have a
I'll
lot
keep
to talk
going if you
about.
want to keep going. It's just been over.
Hey, I don't mind. We can go for three
Okay,
hours. We'll
okay.
give them an extra long. I said this was going to be a deep
Yeah.
dive. I do want to take a smoke break at one point here,
Uh,
so maybe we'll put a bookend on this on this right now, and then I'll go smoke, and then I'll come back, and we will pick up where we left off. So we are where are we though? Where
I
we
mean,
just
we
did
don't
the
have much left,
Ashley.
right? We can. You don't think we can power through and finish?
Uh,
Your call. Your
maybe,
call.
but let's put a bookend on it real
Okay.
quick, and then we'll come back, and I'll cobble it together. We're at the part where Ashley did the. We were talking about the little chase, so we'll come
Yeah,
back from
Ashley
that. All
section.
right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we'll put a pause on this, and then we'll be back after this break. Okay,
Yep. Yep.
guys.
Yep.
This is the mid break. Hey, it's Kenjira 8. We'd like to take the time to thank you, the listener, for tuning into the show, and would like to encourage you that if you like the content you hear, to like and share this content from Spotify or YouTube at the Biohazard Bros podcast, and to leave us a rate or a review on Spotify, or leave a comment on YouTube, and to subscribe to either my channel or my partner Colin's channel, either at Kenjira1980 at YouTube, or Colin with two L's, Colin BFG255 on YouTube. We have a Discord. You can join the Discord. Links are in the description below. And we again really just appreciate you for taking the time to listen to our show. And now let's get back to the bio. All right, we're back from our break, guys, and we are continuing our discussion with Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 4 Remake. We left off with the Ashley section, but one thing I'd like to mention that we really didn't talk about at this point of the game, by this point of the game, both of our characters are infected with La Plaga, and it's a race against time to uh, get rid of the parasite from their body. Um, we didn't really mention that, but Ashley, yeah, the Ashley section, you get through that, you get back control of Leon, and you want to take it from there. What happens next?
Yeah, she
Or
gets
when you get,
captured. Well, in remake, she gets captured right after that. Like
she
after
gets
she,
captured.
yeah,
Yeah.
she gets captured by one of the right hand men of Salazar. Well, I can't remember which
I
one.
believe
The one in
it's
red or the
either
one in
U3.
uh-huh.
It's either, and that is U3
The
and
red one.
Verdugo. Yeah, the right hand man's Verdugo, and the other one is U3.
I get them mixed up, man. I've as
Yeah.
much as I've played it, I really
Well,
forget.
that so Ashley gets captured, and then that's whenever you meet up with Luis. And in the remake, so all right, in the original, they have a section where they are like on the back of this like a dump truck type of like a deal, but I think that was replaced with the minecart chase. whenever you meet up with Luis.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
so,
I guess
but
so.
that's, skipping ahead too much
Well,
here. Uh, you get back control of Leon, and then you've got to try to make your way through like the ballroom and meet up with Luis.
yeah, and it's kind of funny that in 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 the original, after the Ashley section where you take control of
Hmm.
her, she's with you. Like you saved her and she's with you. And also Luis is dead at that point already. Like Luis is already
It,
dead. And yeah, he's dead.
yeah,
But
yeah,
in remake, he's still alive. And one thing I always thought was stupid is that Luis is never brought up again. Ashley doesn't even mention him. You can literally walk right up to his dead body with Leon and Ashley, and she doesn't even say a thing. And I like that they changed that in the remake, where she mentions him again after his
yeah.
death. And I believe she even says for Luis, like we're gonna go do
Just
this for
another
Luis.
example of the polish
Yeah, yeah,
on
exactly.
the remake.
But it's reversed in the remake, though. Once you're done with the Ashley section, that's when she gets captured. But in the original, once you're done with the Ashley section, you actually are reunited with her, and that's when you can go back and get the broken butterfly from that treasure chest. That's
Mm.
near the dog section
um, so kind of just expedite the process and move it along. Let's get right to the minecart chase. I know that
in remake.
we're like, yeah, we're going back and forth between remake and original.
The
I
minecart
wasn't,
section. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I wasn't terribly fond of the original.
Neither was I
The
really.
way
Not.
that it would where it was handled with like that dump truck thing. You know what I'm saying? You got to shoot the guys as they get on the back and stuff, and
Oh,
she's
I thought we were
driving
talking
this.
about the minecart in the original also, like
No,
where it's
yeah,
like
but
three
we
compartments.
are, but I feel like that minecart chase was the replacement for that. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah, I do know what you mean, but yeah, I know what you mean. But I mean, I know what you mean, but the similarity between the original minecart and the remake minecart are more similar, though, I think, than the minecart and remake to the what's it called, the bulldozing section within original. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so I don't know if I'd say it replaced it. I think it's just I think it's just the minecart section, like the original minecart section and the remake minecart. It even look the room that you get into the minecart for the first time is the same exact. It looks pretty much identical to the room in the original. So it's like I don't think it really replaces the bulldozing section. I think it's just I think it's just the same as the original. The minecart section
Oh, so
itself,
they just cut that out, and then they
I think
they
so
just cut it.
because there is no bulldozing in their remake, is there?
No, yeah, it's not in there. All right, so the minecart sections are some of my it's my one of my favorite sequences in the castle.
Is
I
it
think that
really
it's
in the original or
well,
remake?
well in the
Both.
remake in particular. Yeah, that's
I
what I was
I
getting at.
actually am I actually am not fond of it that much. Especially on professional because you take like two hits
It's
and you're
it's it's
dead.
it's
But
challenging. Yeah.
but it's fine. I don't not like it. It's just it's not like a highlight of the game for me.
Well,
And
I
and
like
and and
how.
and any future playthrough when I get to it, I'm just like, oh god, this section. But
Well, I like how it's kind of broken up, and you can get out, and then you have to get on another mine cart because you
yeah,
like do
it's
a
it's
little
it's a fine
section.
section, especially for a first time playthrough or for one or two playthroughs. Yeah,
It kind of reminds me of Temple of Doom, and I wonder if that's where they got the inspiration for that
probably.
from.
Yeah.
If you've never seen Temple of Doom, it
No,
has this
but
really
I know what you're
intense.
talking about.
There's this
Yeah,
really intense sequence where they're
yeah,
on a mine cart at the end, and they got it, and like they even
yeah.
like okay, so you know how I don't know if they did this in the original, but you know how they jumped the track in the remake.
And then yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the literally is scene for scene from Temple of
They
Doom to
do that
me.
in the original, right? Where, like jump off the
I
track.
don't know. I don't remember.
Except it's oh man, except it's just Leon in the original when he's on the thing. So no Luis because he's dead at that point, I think.
Yeah,
Or yeah.
yeah,
So but at the end it jumps off the rails and Leon has to jump out of it and grab on and then you have to do
yeah,
a quick time event to pull yourself up. But yeah. I think they do jump off in both of them. Yeah. But it's just the remake has Luis also. You know what's funny?
yeah. And
Is it like this with you? I RE4 original is one of my favorite games of all time, but a lot of times when I'm playing it, like if I go back and play it, like when I was playing it on when I did my no merchant run like 6 months ago or whatever, uh, as I love the game to death. I think it's a 10 out of 10, objectively and subjectively. Bring that up again. But so many different moments in the game, when I get to a room, I'm just like, oh God, this room. And then I get to another section, it's like, oh God, this section. And I do that for so many sections. And I don't know, I just think that's kind of funny. And I think a lot of people are like that, where they're like, oh, this section. But we do that, but it's like one of our favorite games ever.
I
Do you
mostly
know what
only
I'm
felt
saying?
that way. Yeah, I felt that way only with the cage fight with the U3,
Uh,
where
I don't
the
know.
sections
There
drop.
are multiple sections where I do that for, and then I think about it afterwards, and I'm like, why do I feel that way? Yet I still love the game to death. Why do I go, oh, this section? But then I'm like, best game ever. When like half the game, I'm like, oh,
But
this section.
because it can be a taxing game because of the length of it. If you know, if you, it's
Yeah,
not something you can just casually play through in an afternoon. At least I find that I'm unable to do that. It takes me several, like many hours. Like we're talking like 13 to 20 hours over the course of a few days to get through both of them because they're both lengthy
yeah.
games.
If you play it casually, yeah, it can be pretty lengthy.
Yeah, I don't attempt to speed run Resident Evil 4
I've
original
never either.
nor the
Yeah,
remake,
I mean, I've kind of
but
speed ran it with like New Game Plus stuff, but not like officially. I've never
so
done like
and then
hardcore speed
that's
runs.
so that makes me wonder about another thing. So they cut the U3
Hmm.
fight completely.
And put it in the
Um
DLC,
yeah, and put in the DLC, but
which I
it
thought was
wasn't
cool.
exactly I don't think it was exactly the same as what Leon gets, but that U3 fight, that fucking guy was pretty that was a pretty intense moment because you can't tell where he's coming from when you got to run through that little cave, you know, and he's like
Yeah.
you've got the ledge there, and like he's just chasing you all around, and you got to try to fucking uh drop uh the gate on him, right?
Well, are we
And
talking about original or remake?
it's the original,
We're
the
talking about
original.
original U3
Yeah,
where yeah, there's those two gates you can open up. I actually never
yeah.
tried dropping it on him, but I always just shut him out and then shoot him a little bit. But can you
Oh,
actually drop
I
it on
thought you
him?
I no, I don't know. I thought you had to try to drop him on him,
I never
or
did it,
maybe
remember?
no. I'm think you got to drop. I know what it is. I'm thinking you got to drop the fucking cage with him in it to have him drop to his death. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But he doesn't
Yeah,
actually
whenever
die
you
though because you
yeah
fight him right after
yeah
that. You know that he has
yeah.
the most health in the game of any. Well, hold on. I think he has the most health of any boss or any enemy in the entire game. So much so that I don't he doesn't die in one rocket. If you shoot a rocket at him, he doesn't die. I'm pretty sure.
Really,
At least maybe that's
I didn't
only
know that.
professional, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he has the most health of anybody in the game. He has a lot of health, which is why I don't know if you remember watching me when I know you were in my stream when I did it, the no merchant fight on professional. So
Yeah.
just try to think about that. No merchant, so all you have is the dinky starting pistol and shotgun, and maybe a few magnum bullets and your broken butterfly, and you're fighting U3, the guy with the most health ever, and is insanely powerful. And it's on professional, so I don't know if they have more health on professional or not, but they're definitely more aggressive. They might
Yeah.
have. I don't. Do they have more health on professional? I'm not sure actually.
No, I don't
No,
think so. They're
I'm
just
not
more
sure.
aggressive.
I'm not sure about that. But even if they don't, it's still just like that was the hardest moment for me personally in the game on professional anyways, doing the no merchant run. Like holy shit. Like I mean you were there. I don't know if you remember, but you saw how like frustrated I was getting. Like, oh my god, fuck. And then the game crashed on me too,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh my god, now I got to get back there again and god. It was a pain, but yeah. Anyways, sorry I rambled. I don't know why I do that sometimes. Uh
You're just reliving the experience in your mind. It's all good. That's what we're here
yeah.
to talk about. We're talking
Yeah.
about our experiences with the game.
That's true. I
Me,
feel like I'm
I'm
gonna
trying to
stop bringing it
separate.
up though, because I feel like
I'm trying to separate what the events of RE4 remake original to remake because um it's been a while since I played Resident Evil 4 original.
has
Actually,
it been?
it's been quite a while. It's been several months. Uh,
Oh,
I do know that I do know that I wasn't very fond of that bulldozing section. And I don't know why I thought for like I don't know why I thought that they replaced the minecart scene with that, because honestly I totally forgot there was a minecart scene in the original.
Yeah, no, it's
You
there.
just
You just don't
I
have
knew what was
Luis.
different. You just didn't have Luis.
And it's
That's
and
what
it's
was fucking
and
me
you
up.
use your regular guns. You don't have like a an infinite ammo handgun that Luis gives you like you do in Remake.
Yeah.
In the original, you just use your own weapons. And chainsaw guys jump on top with you, and there's like three different compartments that you can jump between: the left one, the middle one, and the right one. Or the first one, second one, and third one, and enemies jump on randomly, and then you got to shoot the lever to because one of the bad guys pulls it to stop you, and then you got to shoot the lever to start it up again to get it going. Um, but yeah, that's basically it. You just got to keep them away. It
So
is kind of
you
terrifying having a chainsaw guy on such a small area with you. You know, like the if you have the chainsaw guy in one of the compartments with you, I mean, there's no room in there. He's going to be right next to you. So you gotta make sure you have some shotgun shells for that section so you can not instantly knock
yeah.
him down. Otherwise, you're
So
going to be
you
in
were
horrible
talking
trouble.
about Luis dying, right? But we never talked about who kills him. Well, at least in the remake. In the
Well, yeah, in the
original.
original, he dies right
In
before
the
you save
original
Ashley and do the Ashley section,
it's
and he dies by
it's
Sadler.
Sadler kills
Which we
him in the
haven't even
original.
mentioned Sadler yet. The
Yes,
main
we haven't.
antagonist of the game, Osmond Sadler. He uh
The
he
cult leader.
penetrates him through the chest and then steals his juices.
Yep.
Steals his
Now I liked how they handled it way better. I keep
I think
saying
I
this
like it better
because
in the
it's just
remake too. Yeah.
it's just a fact.
Because
I think that the remake is the more superior game. It doesn't take away the the greatness of the original. It's great
it
in its
adds
own right. It just adds to the mythos.
not
Yes.
only I think he gets closer with Leon in the remake, and I think he lasts longer in the game, but also he goes out with a bang in the remake because he ends up saving Leon or helping him out. Doesn't he like shoot Krauser or something or throw a knife at him or something right before he
No.
dies?
No, Krauser actually throws a knife at him. They're just
Yeah, yeah,
talking.
yeah. But
And
and then
Krauser
he's like dead, but he's not actually he dead. He does one more thing to help out Leon before he dies. I'm pretty sure. Like after he gets the knife thrown in him, he still does one more thing to help out Leon at the very like
what
right before.
he does.
I think
Well, I
so.
thought it was Ada that helped him out, or was that in the
No,
original?
she Ada. No, Ada helps him out in the original in a different section. I'm talking about in the
Okay,
remake right now.
yeah.
After he gets knifed by Krauser, you do your fight with Krauser, and then once you're done with the Krauser fight and it goes into the cutscene, I think Luis does something real quick.
I think he shoots him or
I
something, or
think he
shoots at
shoots
him.
him when Krauser has him. I have to watch it again because I don't remember because I
Yeah,
even though I've played the
yeah,
game
you're
30
right about
plus
that.
times now, I haven't watched the cutscenes for the game in a
He
while
does
now.
interrupt. He
As
does
his last
interrupt with a little
heroic
bit of,
effort, yeah, he does
yeah,
something,
with a little bit of plot armor. Yeah, for sure.
and then he dies
But
officially after that.
yeah, and I just
Because
think
then
that their
Krauser
relationship
leaves.
was a little bit more fleshed out. It made no
Yeah,
sense to me. The guy in the original, he gets killed by Sadler, and then
and it's
Leon's
just out of
like,
nowhere.
Louis, no! And it's like you didn't even like the guy. Yeah,
Lewis. I also think it's
yeah.
funny that he goes
He
calls him
calls him
Lewis.
Lewis.
Yeah, but he
Lewis.
said Luis before. So it's like he said both,
Yeah,
right? He's called him Luis and he's called him Lewis. So it's like
yeah.
make up your mind. Oh my
The
God, we
silliness
didn't
of
mention
yeah,
one other thing. The
yeah.
fucking but let's backtrack to the village. I'm sorry, we got to mention this. The village section
Okay.
when you're with Luis and you're in that cabin section and they're all swarming you. That is an iconic moment in the
Oh
original
yeah,
because
the cabin standoff.
almost every Resident Evil after had a copycat section of that. RE5, you have a section where not only is it copycatted from the beginning of the game for RE5, but also they have a section where you're like in a cabin shooting them. RE6 has that. Hell, even RE3 remake had a section like that where you're just like the hospital section with Carlos, where you're like they're all coming in through the
Yeah,
windows, an infinite number of them, and you just
yeah. They
keep them
definitely
out.
owe that to Resident Evil 4. It
Resident
was
Evil 4 started it,
yeah,
and Resident Evil
yep.
4 did it the best, still, in my opinion. And also, it's funny because you can shoot Luis multiple times. And if you shoot him on accident or on purpose multiple times, that's actually a unique death animation. If you shoot him like
Yeah.
too many times, a cutscene plays, and he's like, adios. I don't know what he says. He says something and then shoots Leon, and you die. It's pretty funny, actually. I love that they put that in the game because it doesn't happen if you shoot him once or twice. You have to specifically shoot him like multiple times in a row, like 3 or 4 or 5 times in a row, before he's like, "All right, fuck you, Leon. I'm killing you now. You clearly are shooting me on purpose."
Yeah.
And I think did they keep that in the remake or
He's
not?
like, adios. No, I don't
I don't
know. I
think they
never
did. I
shot
don't.
Louis.
I can't remember. I have a memory of
I think when you
whatever
shoot him, he
something
just
has a
says,
bad memory
"Hey,
of.
watch your."
Yeah,
He's
he
like,
definitely
"Hey,
says
watch your
something.
shame. Hey, we're on the same team."
Yeah,
Um.
now that I think about it, I don't think he does shoot Leon in the
So
remake.
Sadler kills him in the original,
And
and
then
and the change up for the remake is we get basically introduced to Jack Krauser, the guy who
another
trained
iconic
Leon
character. Yep.
during. Yep, I've been dying to get to him because I like Jack Krauser.
Which one do you like
Now,
better, remake or original? Be honest. If you had to pick, which version of Krauser do you like more?
original.
I think I do like original more overall, but I think remake did a really good
I
job.
don't like his voice as much. He sounds like
Neither do I, but I think it's good though.
he got that
Yeah, I
raspy.
think he's good, but I just
Hey,
think it's hard to top.
Leon.
Yeah, I just think it's
I
hard to
just
top
thought
the
he sounded
original.
more I thought he sounded more menacing in the original,
Yeah,
and he sounded silly in the
prepare for your
remake.
death, Leon.
Exactly.
Prepare for your death,
But
Leon, or something like that. It says.
I like how they handled that with him. He's the one who was responsible for kidnapping. Actually,
Yep,
he's killed
he's behind
Louise.
all of it pretty
He's
much,
working directly with Wesker
and Sadler.
in the remake. Well, yeah, both of them,
Yeah,
right? Anyway, is he not? Isn't he working with Wesker too
yeah.
in the
Uh,
remake?
in the original too, I think, because they Ada and him have a conversation about where Ada's like, I met Wesker long before you did, and then Krause is like,
Yeah,
we'll see soon enough if you did. And so he clearly is that's implying that they're both working for him, and I don't know.
yeah.
But he's obviously working for
So
Sadler too.
they're basically well, Krauser's basically like a double agent for Wesker
Yeah, I don't
to
know.
Sadler,
I
you
actually
know.
don't know who he's a lead. Who is he working for more though? Like who is he aligned a legion to more? I don't know if I said that right.
I think his
I think
allegiance was
it's more to himself.
as
And
I was about to say that, man. I think it was more to himself, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I think that's what it
You
is.
know,
It's so funny because
absolutely.
like I claim that I've played the game so many times, but every time I play either game nowadays, I try to skip whatever you can skip. I skip because I've seen the cutscenes
Yeah,
so many times, but I haven't seen them in a very long time though. Some of them, anyways. So it's like
yeah.
I probably should have played through them recently and not skipped any of the cutscenes, but I didn't. Every time I play it nowadays, I skip whatever you can possibly skip. But yeah, let's get back to the knife fight with Krauser because in the original,
Oh yeah.
I think I like the knife fight the way it looks more in the original, but it has the stupid QuickTime events, and you got like 8 of them in a
Yeah.
row, and if you mess one up, you have to do it all over again, and that sucks. But I
Hmm.
think it's such a badass scene, especially for the time, 2005, like
Well, again, it's a
so
product
cool.
of its time. Yes.
Yeah, but I like it better in gameplay wise in the remake because you actually get to do it yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And you can heal and stuff. Whereas in original, it's just a quick time event. And you fuck up one time, and you're just dead. It's pretty easy not to fuck up once you play the game 100 times, like I have. So it's not that big of a deal nowadays. But for the longest time, it took dozens and dozens of playthroughs for me to finally get it down pat to where I could just easily do it every time I play it now. But yeah, it was really awesome. And then he says his iconic, "Well, if it isn't the bitch in the red dress." And then Nada's like, "Looks like we have the upper hand here." And then Krauser jumps like 500
So
million feet in the air. And
isn't it at this point where after the in both games you have to refresh my memory for me because you're a little bit more well versed with gameplay because you play them a ton more than I do.
I have no life, so
Isn't this it? Yeah, isn't this the point where after that where in both games where Leon is thrust into the dungeon where he has to escape and then he's got to face the Verdugo? Doesn't that come after the Krauser showdown in both games?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember. I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
man.
about, but I
Yeah.
get there's so many different iconic things, but sometimes I mix up the order in my head, and that
Yeah.
also just made me think
Well,
of something. We didn't talk about because all this Krauser stuff's on the island, correct? I don't think we ever did.
well,
Maybe
the
not all of
cra-
it,
no, no, the
but
Krauser, the Krauser fight, um, just the Krauser fight, the final Krauser fight. The first interaction is, I
is it? Is it
believe,
not in the? It's not in the castle, is it? No, it might
I
even.
believe it's,
I can't believe I
I
can't
believe the,
remember.
yeah, I believe the. Okay, so in the original, I believe the Krauser interaction is before you get to the and the remake as well. I
Hmm.
think the first interaction where he kills Luis is well in the remake. I believe is I think it's before you get to the island
Yeah, I
because
think
Luis is dead by that point.
you might be right,
Because
but
you get on the motor, you get on the speedboat to get to the island. You know, with
yeah.
Ada.
Um,
Um, in
the
the
only reason why I
remake.
said that is because I don't want to skip over the final boss of the castle section, which would be Salazar, but
Oh,
we'll get to him in a
Salazar. Yeah,
second.
no, we're not quite to the island yet.
Yeah.
So so Krauser, because the difference is this: in the original game, um, Sadler kills Leon or Sadler kills Luis,
So
but in
yeah.
the remake, it's Krauser that kills him.
Mhm.
But it happens; it absolutely happens in the castle still.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So you
I
run
don't know
into
why I
Krauser
had a
in the
brain
castle.
fart there. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
you run into him, but I don't know about the original because of Luis getting killed by
It's in the castle.
Sadler.
Definitely in the castle there.
I don't know where the knife fight happens at.
The
I can't
knife fight
remember that one, but I
happens.
remember for remake.
The knife fight. It's with Krauser in the original. Happens in. Fuck. I'm pretty sure it's the island,
Anyway,
but
it's a
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure it's on the
The
island, but I
the
could
point
be
is
wrong.
that there are differences between the original and the remake. Okay, because of the lore has been changed a little bit.
Sorry, I'm changing
So
everything now. Don't mind
fine.
me.
That's why the confusion, and it's understandable. I'm well aware and can speak for the remake that the knife fight with Krauser, I'm almost positive happens before you get to the island because he's the one who kills
Yeah, I
Luis
think you're right. Yeah, yeah,
in the
yeah.
remake.
For remake, but I
But
think in the original it's
I
later.
don't remember in the original
Yeah.
where the
It,
knife fight is.
oh my God, I'm making myself look so bad. I just claimed I've played it hundreds of times, and I have, but I have a shitty memory for one thing. For those listening that might be watching this podcast, I have a shitty memory, and even though I played it a bunch of times, I mix up in the order of events
Yeah,
sometimes in my head.
especially with the
So
remakes
I
and shit
could be
now.
wrong, and I apologize for that. But I'm pretty sure the knife
Well,
fight takes place
I've
on the
only
island in the
played the
original.
original once on Wii, twice on Xbox 360, or well, let me think, what version is that? I had the HD version, so that would be, I believe, the Xbox 360 version. No, it's not the Xbox 360. Is it? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the Xbox 360 version, or it might be the Xbox One version. Anyway, I played it twice on there, and I've yet to play it on PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 4 version. So
Hmm.
I've only played the game, the original game, like 3 or 4 times.
I take it back. I
I
think it is
played
in the castle section.
what?
The knife fight. I don't remember, man. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. It's bugging me because I'm trying to think. Like, you do the knife fight, and then afterwards, I think right after the knife fight in the original is the laser section. You know, the infamous laser. They used to do those
Yes,
lasers. I think that's
the
right
one
after.
that carried over from the movie.
And
Yeah,
then, and then you go in the next room, and I think it's the room where you can sit in the throne on the
in
on
the
the throne.
throne,
And then after
and
that,
then that's when you fight him.
doesn't that take you up to where you need to get that lion crest thing for the? All right, let me ask you this: what's the enemy name that you have to freeze? Verdugo. Vertigo.
The Vertigo.
Is that the enemy? Doesn't that come
Yes.
after the knife fight? I think with Krauser. What does that come
In the
before?
original.
In the original,
Uh,
because that's in the castle section, is it not?
yes, it is. It's in the castle
Okay,
dungeons.
so I think all of that is in the castle section. I think I was wrong. I don't know.
Right.
Sorry, I'm so sorry to anybody who might be listening to this. I promise you, I played the game hundreds of times. It's
Listen,
just
we've already established
I'm
in a
a
previous episode
I'm a dumbass.
we're not the foremost authority on all the lore. We just love
Yeah,
the games
I've
and
played the
we
game a
played
bunch,
them a
but that
ton.
doesn't mean I'm like I don't like I play it, but that doesn't mean I'm
I
like
know more
focusing.
about the
I don't
lore
care
than
when it
you do.
comes.
We've
I just
established the fact that I know more about the lore, but even then sometimes I'm not always accurate with it because there's so much.
anybody who might be
I
listening,
do
don't look it up. Don't look it up and try to think to yourself, does it come before or after you get to the island? And most of you probably know, but for me, I'm just having like a big brain fart right now, and I can't remember.
most of the diehards in the community would already know the answers to
Yeah,
this. But
probably.
I do but like I said,
But I'm a diehard and I don't know. I can't remember,
I'm
so
confident all right, so I'm confident about the timeline of the
so ashamed
events
of
with
myself.
Krauser because in the remake because I played that one more. But I'm not 100% sure how the timeline events go after for that leading up to the Krauser fight from Luis's death
Yeah. Well,
in the original because it's been a while since I played it and I've only played it maybe like 4 times
hmm.
in its completion.
I've played it four
So
times in the last year, so
yeah, I've only ever played it 4 times.
40 billion
I've
times
played,
in my
like
hard
I've
disk.
said, I've played the remake far more because hey, listen, people might not agree with me on this, and I still love the original. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a fucking a 10 out of 10 as well. I like the remake just a little bit more, I think,
That's respectable.
because
That's
it's
understandable. I think it's understandable
it's
to like either one more.
well,
They're both so good
yeah,
that it's just like I prefer the
it's
original
hard
just
to
ever so
say.
slightly, but
All
I
right,
love the
so if we
remake.
didn't have a remake, I would absolutely say, oh, well, I would have no choice but to say this is my favorite iteration of the game.
Yeah.
But now that we have the remake, and I anticipated this so much because I do love the original. It's just that it's archaic, it's dated,
A
uh,
little bit, yeah. But it's
and
I think it still
it's
holds
aged
up though.
what it's aged.
Like
It
when you
holds
go
up.
if you go back to it
But
after
if you
3 years
compare
of
it
not
against
playing
the
it,
remake, does it really hold up? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, just yeah, I don't know. It depends. I think it
I guess
does.
it just depends
Like
on who you are.
if you haven't
Yeah.
played it in a few years and you go back and play the original, it's for the first 30 to 60 minutes of playing, you're probably gonna be like, this is kind of weird. It feels weird to play this. I'm speaking on
Yeah.
controller. I don't know about PC. On a console, the controls feel a little weird. But every time I've ever gone back to it after not playing it for like a year, it takes me 15 to 30 minutes to get used to it again, and then I'm right back at home. It feels just perfect. But for the first like 15 to 30
Yeah.
minutes, it does feel a little wonky going back to it.
I don't want any of the listeners thinking that I'm shitting on the original because I'm
Yeah,
totally
we're not.
not.
No, yeah, we're not
I
shitting on
fucking
anything
love
here.
it.
We both
I
love
love
both
it.
games. So,
I love both
and
games. Yes,
also I will say,
I'm more familiar with the remake because it's the most recent one that I've played a lot.
yeah, that's understandable. And I will say, back to Krauser, I know for sure. I obviously know you fight him on the island, like the actual main fight. I was just talking about the
Yeah.
knife fight that I'm getting mixed up on
No, yeah,
when
the
that
knife
takes
fight,
place.
right.
I
We're
still
not
want
talking
to say
about the
it's on the
big
island,
fucking
but
climactic showdown.
yeah,
Yeah.
obviously I know that all that's on the island.
That definitely happens
I'm
on the
having like
island in both games.
a major brain fart on where the knife
But
fight in
I'm
the original
pretty
takes
sure that
place.
you knife fight him before you get to the island in both games.
It might
But
be. You might.
I'm not 100% on it. I know it's the
Let's just move
case
on
in
from
the
that
original
because
or in the remake.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, moving on. Um so in both games we're basically thrown into a dungeon. It's different in each game that the events that lead to it slightly, but we're thrown into a dungeon and have to escape the right hand of Salazar, a creature known as a Verdugo, who is a human that is mixed with an insect,
And he's an
and he looks a
asshole.
lot like, yeah, he looks like the alien almost. He looks
And
like the alien from the movie Alien.
I like using a rocket launcher on
What do
an
they call
asshole
it?
piece of meat.
He almost looks like a not a what do they call those things?
Predator. I don't
Not the
know.
Predator, the Alien. I can't remember what they're called. Not a Cenobite. That's from Hellraiser.
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, he looks like the alien from Aliens, and he's a real motherfucker.
You don't got a rocket launcher.
If you're no if well if you're not quick with the QTEs.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
yeah, he'll fuck you up.
yeah, for sure. Oh, we also didn't mention another iconic enemy, the blind dude that has like shark claws, Wolverine claws. What's his name?
Oh,
His name is
that's
is he Garador?
Garador.
Yeah,
Garador. Yeah.
we skipped over him. He's an iconic enemy. I like him because he's kind of like a licker in a way. Like
Yeah.
he can't see, but he can hear really well. And I like that they give you bells. It's it's funny that there just so happens to be bells you can shoot
I like
only when you're ever around them. What a coincidence!
I,
The
I
bells that you
like the
can
way
shoot
you're
are only
introduced to
there
them
when
in the
they're
remake, dude.
yeah, yeah.
When he
It's pretty
falls
cool,
down the
yeah.
fucking
And you're like
hole,
right in
and
front of
then you're
them,
like face to face with that guy, and he's
and they
chained up,
and they have like
and they got the
chains
close up
dangling.
on his face. Oh man.
And they have chains dangling down, so it's so tense because even if
Yeah.
you're sneaking through, you're gonna touch one of those chains, and it's gonna make noise.
He's
And then the second it
That's
makes
actually the
noise,
last thing I did just before we started this podcast when I played it
what that
literally
section?
yesterday. That section was
It
the
is a
last thing I
tense
did, and
section fighting them for the first
I
time in
just
both the
shot the
original and
fucker with
remake.
a no. I just shot him with the infinite rocket launcher and didn't even have to deal with none of that bullshit.
I like how in the remake you can. I like how in the remake you can sneak up on them and knife them in the back. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's like a. I think there's like a. I'm pretty sure I heard somebody say, maybe it was you or maybe it could have been Dwayne. Somebody said that isn't there like a something special for just killing them with the, or like knifing them or something?
You're thinking of Code Veronica, I think, where if you
Oh,
kill
okay.
Nosferatu with the knife, it does a
Oh
special
yeah, yeah, okay.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just I don't think I'm brave enough to fight Garador with a knife.
In the
I
remake,
just
it's a
shoot
lot
him.
easier because you can just be stealthy and sneak up on him, and then if you get up
Yeah.
right on him, right behind him, there's a prompt: press R2 and he'll knife. And then once
And
you knife
speaking of
him,
him, then there's a point in the castle where you gotta, well, like
fight
a
two of
section
them.
of the castle where you gotta fight two of the
That
fuckers.
yeah, if you're playing on like standard or normal difficulty, you'll probably have the money to buy a rocket launcher, and I would suggest doing that if you think you're gonna have trouble fighting two, because it's not just two of them, it's also a bunch of other enemies too.
Now,
When they
wasn't there like a section in the original where like you gotta climb like a tower and do some things before you get to that point where you fight them? You know what I mean?
I do
You
know what you
gotta,
mean, but I don't know if it's before or after. The events of what happens are kind of blurry to me for some reason,
yeah.
as
So
if I
you gotta
haven't
climb a
just played it
tower
in
and hit a
in the
lever
last
and
year.
do some things, and
Yeah.
then then you go down and like around a little walkway, and then you're into that section where they are, and yeah, it's a little bit different in the remake. The getting to them, you kind of just you
That
um.
section in particular is actually very similar to the remake, the original,
Is it really?
where you fight two of them. That room itself
Well, that
is laid
section,
the
yeah,
layout
but
is
the like
similar.
getting to them is a little bit different. There's like some puzzles you got to do to get to
I don't
them
remember, man.
in the
Like I
original.
remember all rooms, but I sometimes forget the order of when they happen.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, but I obviously know every room in the game like the back of my hand, the original. But I just sometimes I forget the order in which they happen. But anyways, that's just another iconic
Yeah, but
enemy that I think was a
yeah.
welcomed addition. Like he's gonna be annoying, but he's fun to fight, in my opinion.
But after that Verdugo fight that you were talking about earlier, I remember and I think it's the same in the remake, but like I think okay, so after you beat him, you go up the elevator and then like you're into like a mine or something. And it's like a big court, like a big cavern, and you got to ascend it, and you got all those fucking insects.
Oh my
Remember, because in the
god,
remake, he's like, I hate bugs.
I hate the
So you got
insects,
that,
dude.
yeah. You
In
got the
both
insects.
remake
They're
and
just a pain in the
original.
ass. Yeah,
God.
yeah.
The one good thing about them
They're
though in the
motherfuckers.
original is that they drop lots of green eyes and blue eyes and red eyes, which you can use to sell and use to combine with
Yeah.
butterfly lamps. But
That section was always one that stuck in my mind because the last time I spoke with my cousin that I talked about in our first episode, the one that passed away,
mhm.
the last time I spoke to him, we were chatting on Xbox Live while I was running that section, and that was the last I ever heard of him because then he passed away shortly after,
Hmm.
and he never got to see the 4 remake. But
Sucks.
yeah, so every time I
Um,
play that part, it reminds me of him. Whether I'm playing in the remake, and I like the way they did it in the remake a lot better again because you um you have to do like you have to like do like little not necessarily puzzles, but sequences to like get through that section instead of just ascending. You know what I mean? Like you gotta like I can't really remember what it is you gotta do, but it's something like you gotta like get a bridge to like drop or like a way across because like you're
In the
cut off.
remake,
This is in the remake because it's literally right after the mine chase.
Mine Chase with Luis and
Yeah, the mine sequence right after the mine sequence in the remake, you have that little section with the bugs and shit.
hmm. Um,
I
I
don't know
don't
how it
remember
goes in
any.
the
I
original.
don't remember any puzzles, but I know there's a optional side quest you can do where you have to shoot those 4 yellow things for the merchant. Speaking of which, we didn't mention there are side quests in the remake.
Yeah,
There are side quests that you can do throughout the game, and I think that's pretty cool. There's not really side quests in the original other than the blue medallion things and stuff, but it's I like the
yeah,
side
because there's not a
quests.
lot of puzzles in this game. It's not really like a puzzle.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you gotta find a way to get across. You
Hmm.
got to do something to like lower. I like in my mind, I'm thinking you gotta like lower a bridge or something, or
Oh, you're talking about the section immediately after the minecart, immediately after when you jump off of.
immediately after it.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's no puzzle or anything. You just make your way up and around so you can get up to the elevator.
Yeah.
There's no like puzzle or anything.
So
You're
I
just
don't know. I
fighting.
was thinking maybe there's like I thought maybe you had to you had to like find a lever and like get the bridge to like come down or
Not in that
I don't
section,
know.
no.
No, not in that section.
Not
But
the
anyway,
same
there's not a
100.
lot of puzzles in this game too. That's
Not a whole lot, but there are a few.
not a whole lot. There's a some.
There's that one
Yeah.
puzzle where you gotta use the swords, the iron sword, the rusted sword, the gold sword, and the blood sword.
Well,
And
no. I mean, in the original, there wasn't like a whole lot of puzzles. Like
oh yeah,
there's
in
just
either
a
game there
couple of
weren't a lot, but there were some,
yeah, but there were some. But
and they
there
were
were
welcomed.
definitely they were definitely welcomed. Yeah.
I like puzzles.
So okay, so moving on from the
Yeah,
from that
let's get to the
section,
end of the castle section now.
we're getting to the end of the castle section.
So skip ahead a
So
little bit.
we finally have tracked down Ashley, and we have to we have to fight Salazar as she's being absconded and kidnapped by his henchmen and taken off to the island.
And let me just say,
And you wanna talk about that fight a little bit?
yes, I do. In the original, it is one of the hardest fights in the game if you don't use a rocket launcher. A lot of people use the rocket launcher though, because at that point, not only is there a merchant right outside the fight, but you have a lot of money and a lot of space at this point in the game. So a lot of people buy a rocket launcher, and then all you have to do is shoot the eyeball, and then he opens. You know how you have to shoot the eyeball enough to where it opens him up, and then when it
Yeah.
opens him up, Salazar himself is revealed, and then you just rocket at him, and he dies, and then he drops like 50,000, or maybe it's 100,000. I can't remember. What's the currency called? PT
Posadas.
Posadas. I just yeah.
Hmm.
Uh,
I
he
don't even
dropped
know if that's a real currency or not.
he drops it. He drops enough to get to literally buy another rocket launcher. So it's like you buy a rocket launcher and then you get the money right back. Not only that, but you don't lose any health in the fight if you rocket him because he dies instantly. And you get there's a ton of boxes, ton of barrels to break. So it's like you get a bunch of shit. But if you don't do the rocket launcher strat, he's a tough fight, really tough fight
Yeah.
because it can be hard to aim. The eye is it can be hard to hit the eye. It's a very small target. Not to mention you have these
And
tentacles
there's
on both the left
literally
and the
like
right
a
that will hit you and fucking destroy you. So let me tell you, that fight on the no merchant run, that is the bane of my existence. That was one of the hardest parts on a no merchant because you have no rocket launcher. And yeah, he's a tough fight.
there's so there's literally like an Easter egg too though that if
Remake.
you and well yeah that's what I was going to ask. I don't know if you can use an egg to damage him in the
Yes.
original. I think they put
Oh
that
no,
as
in
an
the
Easter egg in
original?
the
I'm
remake.
not sure in the original, but in the
Yeah.
remake, if you, I
No,
think it has to
it's
be a
not in
gold
the
egg.
original.
It,
No, it's not.
yeah, in the
It's not in the
remake,
original. Like the egg is not a thing.
if you have a gold
But
egg,
yeah, the golden egg really does some massive damage to him in the
like yeah,
remake,
it
and I
doesn't
always thought it
kill
was
him.
funny
I don't think
because it's like a pre. No, it
it
massively hurts
massively
him.
damages him, and then bust out your
Yeah,
magnum and finish him off.
there,
You can beat him in like
there
five
was.
seconds.
I found it to be rather funny that you have to hit portrait of him with the egg. It's as a kind of a precursor,
That's
but you really don't
that's like
catch on to that until you
foreshadowing right
know that
there.
you can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's a side
absolutely.
quest too. But yeah,
Now how?
hitting them with the egg is hard though. Like it
Yeah,
takes
it is hard. It
and
is.
every time I've ever done it, which I've only ever done it on 2 of my playthroughs, I've used the eggs. All the rest I fight them normally or with a rocket launcher or something. But on 2 of the playthroughs, including my most recent one that I did, I used the egg. It's hard. It's hard to aim it. You got to aim it right. Like it's because there's no like trajectory line. I don't think.
There's kind of some
And even if
luck
there
involved
is,
in
it's
that.
still hard. It's hard to
Yeah.
hit them because you got to hit them exact, and you got to do it quickly, right as soon as the battle starts. If you don't get them right away, then you just got to retry. And then even after you hit him, he's still not dead. He's very injured, but you gotta have a gun, preferably a Magnum, a really strong Magnum. Bust it out and just wail on him, 6, 7 shots, and he'll be dead. And then that's it.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, he's a hard boss fight. If you don't use a rocket launcher or the golden egg, he can be a tough fight. He's
So
pain in the ass, but rightfully so. He should be. He was a well established, well built up character,
did you
and
like him better in the original or the remake? I thought he was
I
kind
think
of
I like him
goofy.
more in the original.
I thought he was goofy in the original, and I thought he was a
Very.
little bit more digestible
I think
in the
Nate's goofy
remake.
in the
But
older one, but I like him more
I
personally in
like
the original.
I like him more in the original myself as
Do
well.
you?
That's
I think
just
he
one
did.
of
I think he
those.
was a cool character
Yeah,
in the remake also. I don't
yeah,
think
yeah. He
let's just
was.
say this right now. I don't think any of the characters are bad in either the original or remake. I think they're all good across the
Yeah.
board. But there are some that I like better in the original, some I like better in remake. I think I like original Salazar more.
Before we move on to the island section, something about the remake, and I know I talk a lot more about that one than the original because
Yeah,
I like
whatever.
it more. It's clear I like it more. I like them. I like it just slightly more, but I do like it more. I love the little section where you have to like go outside on the basilisks of the castle, and you got the fucking the giant throwing stones at you and shit, and you
Oh
gotta
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah, I
oh
forgot
man,
about that was
that was a
cool.
real
And
good
then you get
intense
to the
section. Yeah,
giant cannon
and
at
it
the
was
end to
something
fuck him
new.
up. Like
Yeah,
after all the punishment he dishes out to you, you finally get to the big ass cannon at the very end, and you aim the
and then he
cannon at him
gives
and
us a
fire.
jump
And
scare at the end, doesn't he?
yeah, he sure
He
does.
comes back briefly. Yeah, that was a really good section. I thought that was really like it was
There's
new,
also the
and I'm like,
two.
so that's just an example of why this like the remake is just like a tad bit more on the scale for me of excitement, excitement
We also
and
failed.
like they just and polished.
Yeah, that's understandable. There's also the I forgot we forgot to mention the fight with two El Gigante, two El how do you say it? El
El
Gigante.
Gigante.
Remember the fight
Yeah,
with
and
two
you
of
actually
them
fight him with Luis
in the remake? In the original, you
in the
are
remake.
alone,
Yeah,
and you can drop one of them in the lava, a la Terminator 2, and they hold the thumb up. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
They don't do that.
Well, they don't
But
do
what's
that,
funny
but yeah, it
is
is
that
like
if you're
Terminator.
standing near one of them when they're in the lava, they can grab you and pull you in.
They can grab you and pull you in.
I think
Absolutely.
they can do that in the remake too, but just don't stand near them when you do that. But yeah, in the remake, it's different because you do that, but then on the second one has like armor on, so you got to rely on Luis to, you got to distract him while Luis goes and gets dynamite, and then he plants the
Yeah.
dynamite on him, and then you shoot the dynamite, and that's how you take care of him in the remake. But in the original, you just got to take care of both of them on your own. It's a really fun fight. I like that fight because
I do like that fight as well. I
I
like
mean,
both
it's
of them. I
one of
like
them was
both
already
fights.
intimidating enough. You know, the first one you fight, it's 2-on-1, but to your advantage. And then the second time you fight them, well, actually, there is another one after that that you fight with Ashley. Where remember that section right after the cabin section where you make a choice where you can either go to the
Yeah.
left side with the two Bella Chainsaw sisters and a bunch of regular enemies, or you can take the right path, which has the second El Gigante. But that one's an optional one, so we don't count that. But yeah, so the roles are reversed. Now there's two El Gigante and only one Leon instead of two Leon and a dog and one El Gigante. So it was already brutal enough fighting them earlier in the game, but now fighting two of them. But to be fair, did I just enhance my screen? Did I just enlarge my screen?
No.
I did on my end. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so it was already like crazy enough. So fighting one of them, so fighting two of them was like first time getting to that is like holy shit. But to be fair, if you know what you're doing, it's basically still just a one-on-one fight because you can get rid of one of them easily by dumping them in the lava. It's super easy to do, and then it turns into just a one-on-one fight. But it was really cool though in both games.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Um,
now,
so that wraps up the castle section. I think all the big moments,
so
anyways, in the castle
yeah.
section. Is there
So
anything
now we're going to
else?
move on to the island because here on the island we are introduced to one of the most memorable enemies in the game,
There are a few different new enemies
arguably.
actually, but one of them in
Yeah,
particular
but
shines
the
above all the others.
biggest, the one that shines above all the others
Well,
is
first
the
let's
fucking regenerators.
the regenerators, but first let's talk about the other one real quick. The bald dude. Do you know who I'm talking about? Doctor. What's his name? JJ, I think. He has
Who?
the Gatling gun. Big bald dude.
Oh, I don't know his name,
I
but
think it's
yeah,
JJ. I think it's
the
JJ,
Gatling
but
gun
he's a
man.
fucking pain in the ass. But he's a new enemy, so we should at least
And
talk
there's
about
a
him for a
point in
second.
in the original where you got to fucking take on a couple of them.
Is there a couple of them
Yeah,
at once?
or maybe it's in the remake.
Well, there's RE5 where you take on two chain gun
Oh,
guys at the end.
that's
At the very end of
that's
RE5, it's like the very last
y-
battle
y-
before the final boss and stuff. There's
yeah,
two of them at
that's it.
once.
That's it. I was thinking that was in Resident Evil 4 original for some reason.
Anyways,
Yeah, you're
he's
right.
a pain in the ass because his bullets, you get hit by him once, it takes a lot more health than you would think it would do, and it's especially on professional. He can wipe you out in one or two shots on professional.
Hmm.
Especially if you haven't been keeping up with yellow herbs. So he's a pain in the ass. But I mean, he's a good character. He's a good bad guy. Whatever. But yes, let's move on to the more
The
iconic, the
regenerator,
regenerator, one of the scariest
the
fucking,
scariest
especially for the time.
monster in the game.
Yeah, like he's what a perfect fucking monster. Like it's crazy to me at the time that Capcom is just like they've already introduced us to zombies and dogs, and in the first game, the hunter, all iconic. And then Resident Evil 2 upped it a little bit with the lickers. I think the lickers are such an iconic enemy. They're one of my favorite regular enemies in all of Resident Evil history. Mr. X was introduced, iconic as
You know,
fuck.
you just said something that made me think of something we skipped, but I just want to mention it. So
Go
it
ahead.
deserves an honorable mention. The hedge maze.
Yeah, the hedge mage from earlier with the dogs.
Yeah.
What about it?
Did we talk? We didn't talk about that,
Not really.
did we?
No. There's not. I don't think there's
So
really
we
much to
just,
say
yeah,
other
we're just
than
mentioning it.
that the dogs are fucking annoying, and I usually run past them all.
So anyway,
I
moving
just
on from
run,
the
run,
hedge mage.
run. Yeah, that's right after you have your first conversation with
Yeah,
Ada, which is such a cool
yeah,
scene, by the way.
absolutely.
Nice
So we're gonna move.
knives
I
work
just
better
wanted to
in
make a
close.
mention of that because we didn't talk about it, and it's kind of an iconic
It is, yeah,
location,
and it's
honestly.
also the area. If you go back there once you get Ashley, the room right before the hedge mage has the broken butterfly that you can get from the treasure chest. You got to boost
Nice.
Ashley
Yeah,
up into the thing, and
yeah.
but yeah, we didn't really talk about it, but I don't think there's really much to talk about other than
Yeah,
it's a little bit of
there's a
an
lot more to talk about because these regenerators are the scariest monster in the
yeah
game.
for the
They
from the
are a
that's
real
what I was getting at.
motherfucker to
They
kill.
like it's impressive how Capcom was able to make such iconic new enemies with every new entry because RE2 had the Lickers and Mr. X and of course Birkin. RE3 had Nemesis, arguably the most iconic RE monster of all time, and such a badass, and also had some other enemies. They had those the red hunters, the one with the red like burnt skin on them, and the frog like hunter types, and they had the what are the yellow enemies called? I forget. The ones that are like I forget what they're called.
The
Whatever.
Bandersnatch.
No, that's what I was getting at next though. It was Code Veronica has Bandersnatch enemies, which they're all right. Um, but yeah, they're good at making up new enemies in every game,
Hmm.
and RE4 is definitely no exception. They've quite a few. The chainsaw enemies so iconic. The fucking El Gigante or El Gigante or El fucking who cares what you call him. That he's so
Mm.
iconic. But man, the Regenerator I think tops them all in terms of regular non-boss enemies.
And then there's kind of an evolution of that character as you progress through the island, and he becomes the Iron Maiden.
Yeah, the Iron
Where
Man's
once you
even
shoot
more
him,
of a
you
pain
think
in
he
the
gets
ass.
back up and he fucking with
Yeah,
the
what a
fucking with the
dick.
needles.
And it's so cool that
Yeah.
they give you. That's why another reason why the sniper rifle, the second one that you get, the semi-auto, is so important because he's hard to take out because he's regenerates. He's the regenerator, but they give you, after you fight like the first one or two of them, you get to the freezer section and you get the what's it called, the infrared scope, and
The
then
biosensor scope.
whatever it's called. I think it's the
Yeah.
infrared in the original, but you might be thinking of remake.
Of course,
Whatever.
yeah.
If it's called that in
Yeah.
both, whatever. Everybody knows what we're talking about. And
But
I always
yeah,
thought
you know
that
what
was
we're
a
talking
really
about.
cool way to take out those enemies because it shows their weak points. So now you don't have to just wail on them randomly with all your
And that
maximum
noise that
firepower.
that fucking thing makes.
I was gonna get to that after this, but yeah, the noises that they make, like you go into a room and you hear that noise, it's so terrifying knowing that they could be around this corner, or maybe they're around two corners from now, or maybe
It's
they're just,
almost
or maybe they're right behind you. You never know.
it's it almost puts you in the mind of like hearing the liquors, when you can hear them
Yeah,
tapping and
sound design is a thing, and sound design in RE4 is
yeah,
so good, so good.
yeah,
But yeah, they are very very intimidating in both the original and remake. I think they're more intimidating probably in the original just because. I don't know. I'm just going off my personal experience because, I already know they're going to exist. So how can they be as intimidating in the remake when I already know they're coming, But if I can see
yeah.
someone's thinking like that they're more intimidating in the remake if you play the remake before you ever play the original. You know what I mean? Then of course that person's going to think they're more intimidating in the remake because they don't know about them, but I don't know. I played the original so many times before remake was even a thing.
I like the facility in the island where you run into them for the first time in the remake, the way that it was designed, how it's like dingy and dirty. And I mean it's done that way in both games, but I think because of the graphical improvements, of a 20-year difference,
And it's really dark,
how they were able to make it like, like it
creepy.
looks like it's a stinking rotting place, you know what I
Yeah, and
mean?
it's dark when you meet them for the first time in remake. It's like because the
Yeah.
power's out and shit. That's the difference.
Yeah.
It's not dark like that in
Yeah.
the original. It's
That adds to the
normal.
vibe
Yeah,
of terror.
yeah, yeah. But I still think I like them better in the. I don't know if I really like them better. I don't know. I think I just have more nostalgic for memories of the original is all. I think they're both
Yeah,
equally terrifying. I guess I would say.
they are,
Um, I
in
just
their
have
own
a
ways.
I have a more of a soft spot for original though. Um,
I did too for the longest time until and I still do.
yeah.
But like I said, I played the remake and okay. So I guess the best way I can put this is RE4 remake took everything that was great about the original and just ramped it up and improved it, and that's all I can say about it. Really, it's not really the better of the game. It's just it's it's more modern, more updated, it's more streamlined, and it just took like everything that was great about the original and it just amplified it and did it so much more, better as far as story wise, graphically,
I
and
do think a lot of
controlling
things are
wise.
better in the original and in the
Yeah.
remake. I think they both have their pros and cons. You ever seen that video? I
Yeah.
think we talked about it before. I can't remember who uploaded it, but the guy's name, but he titled it RE4 Soul versus Soulless. So he's
No.
basically saying the soul that the remake was soulless. This was when the RE4 remake first came out, like within the first month or two.
Oh yeah, you were.
It was a very like controversial thing at the time because people were
I
upset by that.
remember.
But
Yeah.
then there are lots of people that agree with him. But the thing is I don't want to get into this guy's video or bash him or anything, but it's just I think it's such a stupid video because to say that the remake is soulless is absolutely the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Now, like, come on, soulless. That's such a harsh term. Like, how can you play RE4 Remake all from start to finish and call it soulless? It has so much soul and charm and love. You can tell they were passionate about making it. Like they did such a
Yeah.
good job. Now I can understand you not
So
liking Remake as much as the original. I don't like it as much as the original, so I can understand that. But to call it soulless, that's fucking stupid. Come on. Like that
yeah. So
video
fuck
pissed off a
that
lot of
guy and his
people.
opinion.
That's what I didn't want to say. Is like, because I don't even think
I'll
he like
say it.
I don't
I'll
even think
say
like
it.
he's probably a cool
I
guy,
like the
but
remake.
like that's
Soulless. Fuck that guy.
but it's like come on, that's absurd. And I understand he
Anyway,
wants to get views and whatever. Who doesn't want to get views? And there are a lot of people that shit on the remake, because they don't like it. They want the original. They think the original is. There are
And that's
people
all
that
fair and good.
there are people that think the remake is absolute trash, 0 out of 10, and the original is 10 out of 10. There are tons of people out there that think that.
Yeah, well, them people don't matter because I like the remake. No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
a lot of
Everybody
people
can have
do,
their own
and
opinion.
they can have their opinion, but a 0 out of 10 game is not RE4 remake. Like you can think it's a 6 out of 10 game and that you didn't like it that much. That's understandable. But if you're gonna say something's a 0 out of 10 game or a 1 out of 10 game, a 1 out of 10 game is a game that like you can pretty much you can't even play it. It's so bad and like so broken. Like a 1 out of 10 game in my eyes is a game that just barely even works. Like you're constantly falling through the world and it's glitchy and it's like not even playable. That's a 1 out of 10 game. Like
Yeah.
so to call RE4 remake a 1 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10, like that's so ridiculous to me. But whatever. It clearly isn't that. Anybody with half a brain knows that it's not.
I
Like
felt that way about
if you
fucking.
think
Well, it
if you
wasn't.
think it's not as
I
well,
wouldn't call. I wouldn't call Sand. What was that? Daymare a 1 out of 10. But I felt that way about Daymare. I thought it was.
yeah, that's
It was.
understandable, but
It was meh.
it's not the
But
best.
then it's not the
It's
best. Yeah.
jank. But RE4 remake is not jank. It's clearly
No,
made
not at
very
all.
well. And if you don't like it, if you think it's like a 6 out of 10 and you don't like it, and you played it all the way through and you are being like that, I respect that. But if you barely even played it and you're saying it's just garbage and you're not even giving it a real chance, and then you say it's like a 1 out of 10, like fuck you, like come
Yeah.
on,
Fuck you.
like seriously.
Fucking Re. Both. They're
How
both
can you
10 out of 10s to
How can
me.
you even look at RE4 remake and think a 1 or 2 or even 3 out of 10? Like, come on. Like, I understand if you don't like it as much as the original. That's totally understandable. Or if you don't even like it at all, fine. But to say it's a dog shit garbage game, it's absurd. It's obviously at the very least a good game. Like it's just objectively a good, well made game. Now,
Anyway,
yeah, let's move on with that. So.
let's close up the
Well,
island because we are on the island and
yeah, well, there's still some
we're
more.
nearing the end of the game here.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the section
We
where
still
you
got a
pick
bit
up the
more though to get
guys,
through.
with the crane. I always thought that was fucking funny.
Yeah,
Or you pick up the guys with the crane and drop them in the garbage chute,
in the shoot. Yeah,
and then
that
when
wasn't in
Ashley
the remake,
and then when Leon and Ashley
was
jump
it?
in, was it? Dude, you're
No,
putting
I
me on
don't
the
think
spot.
so.
I
There
don't even
wasn't
remember.
there wasn't. I don't think there was a section where you picked them up with the crane and
I
threw them
can't.
down
I'm
the
having a
chute.
brain fart. I can't remember.
Yeah,
But
I don't recall there being one.
I love the part where Leon and then Ashley jump in and no way, Leon. Way grabs her hand and then just jumps in. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
When they
Of
jump in the
course.
trash
The
thing? Yeah.
dialogue, yeah, the dialogue is just
Way.
so the dialogue is so right on the original, it's right on course with the bad dialogue as we
Yeah.
like to call it, the corny dialogue. I don't want to call it bad, it's corny. But
It's
it's
goofy and
charming.
funny.
It's goofy and funny, it's charming. It's
Yeah,
corny but
yeah, yeah,
charming.
very charming. Well, yeah, I don't
So,
know. The next like major thing that happens, I guess, would be Krauser fight, maybe. I mean,
yeah, the
I
Krauser
guess
fight.
The Mike helicopters
Well,
thing.
the Mike helicopter fight. Yeah,
Up to that. Mike,
poor guy.
where Mike barely helps
Both
you out.
he never gets to buy that beer for Leon in either game.
Yeah,
So
Mike. And if you're playing on professional, he doesn't do shit for you. He very rarely helps you out on professional. He's such an asshole. Fuck you, Mike.
yeah.
I don't feel
Oh,
bad about
I
what
remember
happens
that.
to him in professional.
I remember being stuck on that part right where you got to come up around that bend, and then there's like the hut ahead of you, and then like to the left of you is the path that leads to like that little like that building and shit where the bridge goes out, and I just remember not being able to get past that, and you got to go down in the trench and shit. Oh, I remember getting stuck on that part for like about a half an hour on professional, like fucking just like
Yeah, it's
wanting to
tough.
tear my eyes out. It
But
was a rough one.
after all that, Mike dies, and it's sad. On normal, anyways, it's sad because at least he helped you out on normal. On
Yeah.
professional, he barely lifts a finger, so fuck him. And it's one of the most frustrating sections of the game, especially when you get to that part where you have to hit the two switches, one on each side. And
Hmm.
but once you get past that, Mike crashes because of their RPG that they use that homes in on them somehow, which that's not how RPGs work, I don't think. But whatever. But after that, it leads up to the
that was in the original, right?
Yeah.
So how did he die in the remake? Do you remember?
I mean, I think it's pretty much the same way, right?
Sadler
Or
unleashes the
no,
bugs.
yeah, the bugs, yeah, I was gonna say the bugs get to him, but did they not shoot him down?
Yeah.
Is it just the bugs?
I think it's just the bugs. Don't quote me.
You might be right. I know there
sure.
are
I'm
there are
pretty
the
sure it was
bug
the bugs that
enemies.
brought him down.
Yeah, I think you're right. But after that, in the original, you're on your way to fight Krauser. But there's one little thing.
One little thing, yes.
Before the Krauser fight, you know what I'm talking about. You wanted me to.
I know what you're talking about.
Like
that thing that's been driving me crazy
right before,
for 20 fucking years.
Or is it?
No, not that long.
I think it's right before.
It's been driving people crazy for 20 years. It's been driving me crazy since you pointed it out.
Well, I don't think people knew about it for a while. So not 20 years, but over.
But yes, we are
over a
of course
decade.
Talking
people.
about. We're talking about the green dress lady.
Yeah,
the green garb.
It's hard to see her, but it looks like a lady in green. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there's a room that it's like a few rooms before the Krauser fight. I'm pretty sure, you go into this room, and it leads downwards. But like if you take your snipe, you have to have the sniper rifle, and you have to have the best scope on it, so you can zoom as far away. If you zoom off far into the right, there's this structure way in the background, and basically just look up a video if anybody's listening and you don't know what we're talking about. Look up a video.
It kind of looks like to me.
Look up a video of Lady in Green Resident Evil 4 if you don't know what we're talking about.
You know what it kind of looks like? It looks like fucking. It puts me in the mind of Reptile from MK.
Yeah, Reptile. Yeah, Reptile's chilling out there, all in green. But yes, there's a figure that you can make out. It's too hard to explain,
and it's
so that's
super fucking creepy.
Yeah, it's too hard to explain of how to find her exactly. So that's why I'm saying for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, look up a video. I know Slippy Slides is one of the first people who found it, or maybe the first person who found it. That's a YouTuber. Look up a video. Just type in like Resident Evil 4 original Lady in Green Easter egg or something, and you'll find it. So you'll know what we're talking about. But you zoom off and
nobody knows who it is.
Yeah, there's a structure, and you can even with the best scope in the game, it's still super hard to make her out. But if you can barely see her, there's like a cardboard cutout of a lady. I think she has like her hand up or something. I can't remember, but it's like a cardboard cutout lady in like bright green, like green.
You know why
it's just standing there staring at you, and it's really weird and creepy. Most people think it's probably just one of the developers. They just put themselves in the game to be sneaky, but nobody knows who she is or he. It could it could be a he, but it looks more like a female. But it could be a guy. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but it looks more like, I think most people think it's a female. But sorry.
You know why I find that thing? You know why I find that thing creepy?
Why? Because it is.
Because it is creepy.
It is kind of creepy.
It reminds me of the big. Now you might have been to. This was before your time. You might have been too little to remember.
The old
this.
fart.
There was a movie. There was a movie. There was a movie back in the. I think it was like in maybe the late '80s or early '90s.
I was born in '89. So.
Yeah, so it was a while ago. It was called
The Thing.
Oh God. No, it was three men and a lady or something like that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The ghost kid that nobody knows who it is.
But it's not a ghost kid. It was a cardboard cutout.
Oh, was it?
And it reminds me, yeah. So that was debunked. Yeah, for a long time, people thought it was a ghost kid.
People thought it was like a...
Yeah, and it scared the shit out of people to see it in there.
Yeah, because like...
And turns out it was a cardboard prop.
Yeah, okay. I actually
that they didn't know was there. They forgot about it.
So
and
it
reminds me of
that.
that. So it creeps me out.
I didn't know they debunked it. So that's cool. So it's not...
It's not a ghost.
It's not... yeah. I was saying it's not
Obviously.
an actor.
I don't think it's fucking... I don't know. I'm pretty
that's
sure...
interesting. It does remind me of that. Yeah.
It reminds me of that. So it creeps me out. Because for a long time, the whole world thought that was a real ghost kid.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was a cardboard cutout. And this cardboard cutout is similar to that because it's kind of creepily standing there off in the distance.
It's similar, except it's a video game, so it's obviously not.
Yeah.
We don't know who it is.
Hey
I
man,
hope. I wish Capcom would come out and
video
say
games
who
can
that is.
conjure up some creeps in you though. You know.
We should look it up. I wonder if
They,
anybody's debunked who and finally figured out who it is. Like,
no,
let's
they haven't. I've looked it
everybody
up.
everybody who's listening, go on Twitter and tag Capcom and ask and like tag the video of like the lady in green. Find the video on YouTube
Yeah.
and tag them and
I
say,
don't
"Hey
think it's been
Capcom,
I
we
don't
want
think
to
it's
know who this
been
is."
disclosed. I think to this day it's still a mystery. It's like one of the
Yeah.
biggest mysteries in all of gaming. So
Most likely, it's probably somebody who worked on the game and they snuck a picture of themselves in the game that they thought nobody would ever see. That's probably what it is, but you never know. Who knows? Um,
yeah.
but here's the thing. I remember the first thing I did when I got near that section in the remake. I looked high and low with my sniper rifle trying to find that lady in green in the remake to see if they put it. As far as I know, she's not there. I never found
Nobody's ever
her.
found her
I don't
yet.
think anybody. Yeah, but so I don't think they included her. But yeah. But yeah,
So
that's like right before the Krauser fight, the major Krauser fight that you do.
yeah, I was going to say let's get into the Krauser fight.
Oh boy, the
Uh,
Krauser fight is a tough one.
yeah.
It's brutal. Like if you're playing it for the first time ever, it can be brutal. And even if you know what you're doing, it can still be brutal, especially on professional. But he's an
I found it
asshole.
was a tad bit. I thought it was a tad bit more. Um, I thought it was a tad bit more like easy on the remake. I believe that's. I
Uh,
believe that's the
I think they're about
like
equally difficult in both games.
like you can literally you can just knife them to death like
I was about to
in one of
say
them.
I didn't know this as a kid. Only when I became an adult in my 20s that I figured find this out. But the knife does a lot. Like the knife in the game does normal damage, but if you use the knife against Krauser, it does a lot more damage. It does like five
Yeah.
times as much damage.
So that's in the original.
I think it's in both. I think it's in both the
Think
original
it's in
and
both.
I think, and I don't know how much more I say five times, but I don't know actually know how much more. Maybe
Because
it's
you
like
told me
maybe
about
it's
that.
three
Because I
times as
remembered I
much
was
damage.
fighting him on that. I was fighting him on professional, and I was struggling with him. You said
Yeah,
fight
the
him with the
knife is
knife, and
actually
then
what
I
you
fought
only
him with the
use.
knife, and I just took him out
Yeah, he
quick.
like obviously if you have infinite ammo Magnum, then go ahead and use that, or the Chicago typewriter, or an infinite rocket launcher is
Yeah.
obviously going to be better. But if we're talking about a fresh new save playthrough, and especially if you're like low on ammo, the knife actually does like I don't know what it does. It does three times as much damage, five times the damage, 10 times the damage maybe. I don't know what it is, but it does a lot more damage. The knife against Krauser than any other enemy in the game. And
hmm
I don't know why they programmed that, but I guess because he's I don't know. I don't know why they did that, but
So
it's a welcomed addition. It's a nice little thing.
because he trained. I think it was just it's because of Inlore. Like he's the one that trained him with a knife. So
Yeah,
like the
so it's like
knife,
supposed to be like that's his
like
weakness
a
because
like
he's
is his
human
weakness. Yeah,
and yeah, I don't
it
know.
makes sense to me.
And it's cool. It's cool because if you get there with very little ammo and you're kind of screwed and all you have is a few healing items, if you have no ammo, you can you'll still be okay because you can just knife them. You might take a few
Yeah.
attempts, but you'll get it down pat. He doesn't take that many knife slices to kill. Like it takes quite a few, but not as many as you would think, and it's not as hard as you would think too. Once you get the rhythm down in both games to knife him to death. But yeah, I always thought that was pretty cool. I never knew about that as a kid though. Like in my teen years, I never knew that the knife did a lot of damage. I only found that out like 10 years ago, I think, was when I first
No
found that out.
shit.
Yeah, in like my mid 20s.
Everything that I know about like little secrets like that, I basically learned it from you because
Well, I'll tell you
you
another
know
one
these
that I think
things.
I've told you. You can, as long as you have one shotgun blast and you can shotgun a regenerator down to the floor, you can knife them to death for the rest of the way. All you have to do is,
Yeah.
if you shotgun a regenerators, so minus the one shotgun shell that you use, you can knife a regenerator to death. Shoot him down to the ground so that he's he loses his legs. Immediately take out the knife and just start swiping. And if you, as long as you did it fast enough, you can just keep slicing away with the knife, and he can't do anything, and then you'll kill him. It's gonna take a lot of slices though, because the regenerators aren't weak to the knife like Krauser is. But he gets stun locked, like he can't do anything except just over and over again. So that's another little fun fact for you. That's in the original though. I don't know if you can do that in the remake.
hmm Okay,
Um,
so the final fight.
Yeah, after Krauser, you save there's one more like big battle with another JJ enemy, the machine gun, the chain gun guy, and a bunch of regular enemies. There's one more big battle with them, and then you get the parasites out of Leon and Ashley's body, and then you're off to you find the merchant one
Fight
final time
to
to
one final
get
time,
to
and
get some final upgrades and stuff, and then you're off to fight the main antagonist, Adam Sadler.
uh, Adam
Yeah,
Adam Sadler,
Adam Sadler.
Osmond Sadler.
Adam Sadler's
Uh,
canon, by the way, in RE4 Remake. You can find
he sure is
one of those
the
like
grave marker.
the tombstone grave marker, whatever. And there's a bunch of different Sadlers, and one of them says Adam Sadler, which I feel like they obviously intentionally made it. Like that's, I mean, come on, right? Like that's an obvious Adam Sandler reference right there. It has to be.
I
You
I don't know.
you can't say Adam Sadler without thinking Adam Sandler. Who in their right mind? Like I feel like they called him Adam Sadler to kind of reference and pay homage to Adam Sandler, who is
Maybe.
who is himself is an icon. But yeah, after you do all that with Krauser and you do the one final battle after that, you save Leon and Ashley. You get the parasites out of the body, so Sadler can no longer control them. Because I guess we failed to mention that Sadler could control Ashley and Leon.
Yeah,
Like
because it's
Ashley especially, because the
alpha
longer the
parasite.
parasite was in you, the better control he has over you. So he was able to control Ashley towards the end of the game because the parasite was taken over. And yeah, it turns out he has captured Ada because when you save Ashley, let's rewind a little bit. When you save Ashley from the chair, Ada helps you escape. She shoots like a bunch of explosive barrels, and it traps Sadler in there with her, so that gets Leon and Ashley time to escape. And then the next time you see Sadler at the very end of the game, Ada's captured and strung up. And
Yeah,
but all Leon has to do, because he's such a fucking badass, all he has to do is chuck his knife up there, and it cuts her down, and she's fine.
cuts her down. Yeah,
And then she leaves, and you do a one-on-one, 1v1 with Sadler. He transforms into this huge, what would you even call him? Kind of like a spider, but not really.
yeah.
He has lots,
I don't
of
know.
legs.
I
And
never really know what these monsters are really
yeah,
supposed
these
to be.
final transformation monsters are
Well,
always bizarre.
except for Derek Simmons, he was a fucking dinosaur.
He was a dinosaur. He was multiple things. He was a dinosaur. He
Yeah,
was like some fucking, I don't even know what the one was when you're shooting him on the train. We'll get into that when we get to our RE6 video.
yeah,
But
exactly.
fucking
But
Derek Simmons. But
I
yeah, he
liked.
transforms into his thing, and he has eyeballs on his arms that you have to shoot. And
Excuse me,
sorry,
sorry
go
about
on.
that.
No problem. Sorry, go on with what
No,
you were gonna
I
say.
like the I like the I like the fight with Sadler,
I do too.
of course, naturally in the remake a little bit more.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. It's just I don't know. I just I feel like it's not as tough, but it's enjoyable.
I
Um,
so I don't know which one I like more, but I'm just gonna go with original because I don't know, I like original more. Because what's cool about the original is there are so many ways to take them out, even if you don't have weapons. Because they give you one or two grenades first of all, and one grenade can knock him out. Uh, Knock him out as in like knock him to the ground so you can stab his eye. There's also a few explosive canisters that you can shoot when he's near. Those knock him out. And then there's also when you climb up on the little thing, and you can use the lever, and when you pull it when he's close enough, a big like thing of, I don't know what you would call it, like a crane like comes that has like a bunch of like metal steels attached to it, or metal things attached to it, and it like
oh, it's a
rams,
crane.
yeah, and it rams into him, and that knocks him out. So I like that there's so many different ways you can knock him out that don't rely on you having to use any of your weapons, because
Yeah,
if you get there with hardly any ammo, you'd be screwed. So they give you all these different ways of knocking him out, so even a player who has no ammo could still knock him out and win, because all you have to do is knock him out a few times and knife him in his eye a few times, and eventually Ada will be like, here, use this. And then I don't know if you can, I never know if you can shoot him before knocking him out with the rocket launcher. Do you happen to know? I always knock him out
for
one
which
final, the
version?
original. When you get the special red tipped rocket launcher,
Yeah,
I don't shoot him right away with it. I always knock him out one more time to where he's on the ground and his eyeball is
I
exposed.
think once you get the rocket launcher, you can just shoot him.
Can you?
You know what I
I'm
mean?
gonna have to try
I
that next time I
think.
do it. I haven't done
I
that.
think. I don't know. Like I
Well,
said, I've
either
only played
way,
it about four times.
I
But
always
I
play it
think
safe and
once
knock
you
them
have
out.
the rocket, because it's like it's the trope. Once you have the rocket
You're
launcher,
supposed to just
it's
shoot
the
right
end.
away. That's true.
Yeah,
You're
it's just
probably right. It probably is just shooting right
wreck
away.
them. You know.
Yeah.
So one
Yeah.
thing I'd like to touch on before we move on to one last section of the game, I'd like to get into. Uh, After you defeat Sadler in both versions of the game, you have to escape the island on a fucking ski-doo
Yeah.
with Ashley, and it's a real intense sequence. I like both
Yeah.
the same. I can't pick which one I like more. But one thing I do like about the remake that they did with that sequence was before you even get on the ski-doo leading up to it,
Mm.
you get to actually see all the Ganado
They're
that
like
are like
they're like
flailing and
yeah,
dying
yeah. I do think
because
that's
their
pretty cool.
master's dead.
Yep.
I thought that was really cool, a
That
real
is a
cool
cool detail.
touch
Yeah.
because they didn't show that in the
And
original. What happens to
gives
these
you
fuckers?
more of a, like a satisfaction that you did a good thing too, knowing that they're all just
Yeah,
writhing on the ground and are powerless to do anything. It makes it answers the question, like, because in the original I'm sure there was people that had questions like, oh, you took out Sadler, but there's still a bunch of other infected. But in
yeah,
the remake they kind of answer
exactly.
that
It,
with that.
again, it's just another example of how this game, the remake, ties up loose ends from the original that makes it just edges it out for
I
the
agree.
it edges it out for satisfaction for me.
Yeah, it's really good, really well done. Both games are just phenomenal.
They're
I
just
think they
phenomenal, both of
like
them, though. Absolutely.
for RE4 for its time especially is just
Where the original has the charm of its time and
yeah.
the nostalgia,
The
this one
remake
pick
builds on it and
this
makes it
one might
prove
not
what a
have all
wonder it
that.
is.
It might not have that under its belt, but it does have the polish
Yeah.
that we all hoped it would have, and
Yep.
it was handled
And there
exceptionally
are
well.
lots of improvements, I think, but yeah. So
Now,
that's why I
before
said
we
you can't go wrong with either of them. If you say you like the
with either
original
of
more,
them,
I respect it. If you say you like remake more, I respect it. Like I respect it
now
either way.
before we wrap this up,
Hmm.
you talked about it a little bit. I think the audience knows you've quite touted the fact that you're proud of your speed run, but we have to touch on Separate Ways
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm down.
and
I'm
Mercenary for
very
that
proud of my
matter.
speed run in Separate Ways. This is Separate Ways on the remake, by the way.
Yeah.
Because like I don't hardcore speed run something very often, but I was so in
So
love with
that makes me
RE4 and so in love with the DLC that I prefer shorter speed runs, which is why I chose to do Separate Ways instead of the main game because it's a hell of a lot shorter. Yeah, my time was like
that
a
makes
30.
me wonder. Do you like the remake Separate Ways better than the original, or do you like the original more?
Yes,
Which one was
I think
did it for
Remake
you?
Separate Ways is definitely better. I do.
Okay,
I like the
fair
I
enough.
like the main game better for the original, but I think Separate Ways is better. And back that reminds me, I never mentioned that. All the way back to like an hour and a half ago, I was talking about Separate Ways and how people were bitching about how it cost $10. If you're bitching about how it costs $10, just remember you all went out and bought RE3 remake for $40. Remember that? 40 fucking or was it $60? No, it was $60. It
It
was a
was
full
$60.
yeah, it should have been $40.
I didn't pay 64, and I got it with
I
the
did.
Raccoon City bundle for 20
I
bucks.
bought it for $60 because I was so excited to play it, and it is as and of course I'm going to buy it for 60 because I'm a diehard RE fan, but it is not a $60 game. It is a $30 game at the most.
Yeah.
It's well worth to play it if you can get it for 30 or less, but anyways, so just remember that RE4 remake DLC Separate Ways for the remake
Hmm.
had more content than RE3 remake did, and RE3. Well, even if you don't
I
want to
mean,
say
it's
more,
about as long as RE3 remake
yeah, it's about as it's. I would say it's about equal. But the thing is the DLC
for
only
10
costs ten
bucks.
bucks, and the yeah. So people that are bitching about that, just get off your fucking high horse. Spend the $10 to they fucking worked their ass off with that shit and made it so damn good. And you're gonna bitch because it costs $10 because you think that the original, like, oh, we didn't have to pay $10 extra for Separate Ways in the original. No, you didn't. You had to buy a whole new console and a whole new and the game all over again. So you didn't pay $10 to play Separate Ways. You spent like $300 to play Separate Ways back in the day. Like,
Yeah,
and I
I
understand
like
that.
what
I understand that some people didn't have the GameCube version, and their first experience with the game was the PS2 version. And in that sense, yes, it did come with it for free. But like we're talking about the original RE4 was the GameCube version, and it did not have separate ways. So if you wanted to play separate ways, you had to buy the PS2 and you had to buy the game all over again, which is a hell of a lot more than $10. So just, people need to stop finding things like that to bitch. It's swear to God, nowadays it feels like people just are trying to find things to bitch about with games. They just can't enjoy stuff anymore. There are so many people that are like that. And it's so like heartbreaking to me and infuriating. Just enjoy, man. It's $10. $10 for 8+ hours of content. And way more than that if you replay it, which there is replayability in it, just like there was in the main game. I have hundreds of hours on the DLC, and all I had to pay was $10 for it. Like it's well worth it. It's well worth it, even if you're only gonna play it one single time. Anyway, sorry about that.
Yeah, I gotta get on to my second playthrough of Separate Ways.
It's good. It's good. So good.
Uh, I like the actual addition of Wesker integrated into it
Yeah, I've
organically because
loved Wesker in the
they didn't
DLC.
have they didn't have Wesker wasn't a part of the game originally
Yeah,
until Separate Ways was created,
and
and
he
then
was only.
even then it felt like he was forced into the like shoehorned into the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
But the
He
way
only
they
talked
handled
like.
it with this one, yeah, it was organic. It felt natural and right, and it
Yeah,
tied up loose ends from the previous trilogy,
and he
and
even
I
does a
like
reference
that.
at
And
the end.
I like this Separate Ways. I can't praise it enough either. Um, Mercenaries. I want to touch on that real quick because I got to wrap this up here soon. I like the Mercenaries of Resident Evil 2 remake a little bit more because
Resident Evil 3 remake.
yeah, Resident Evil 4 remake a little bit more because it's easier
It is
with the
easier.
interface to try to get the all the S ranks that you need to unlock shit,
You
and
get
I found
Leon's
it really
RPD
tough.
outfit if you can do
Yeah,
that, which is a cool reward.
yeah. No, I haven't done it on PlayStation yet.
Oh, really?
Only
You know,
on Xbox.
there is one other enemy we didn't discuss because he's only in Mercenaries in the original. It's
Yeah.
the dual bladed or whatever he is chainsaw guy. Do you know the guy I'm talking about? He only appears
Who?
he only appears in Mercenaries mode where he like
Oh,
he chainsaws like he does that
yeah.
motion with it.
Yeah.
And a shotgun blast doesn't knock him down like it does with the regular shotgun with the regular chainsaw guy. He is brutal. He appears in stage 4 of Mercenaries, and I think also maybe stage. No, I think it's just stage 4.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is just stage
I
4.
don't remember what his name is though. Doctor. He's basically like Super Saiyan Chainsaw guy. He
Yeah,
he
Dr. Salvatore on steroids.
he is because he doesn't get knocked back from a single shotgun blast or even two or even three. Like I think it maybe three.
Yeah, he was a real motherfucker,
He
man.
is, and he's so powerful, instant death, and he just doesn't stop. Like he'll keep coming after you no matter how many times you
Almost to the
shoot him.
point it's like terrifying.
It is so terrifying, and
And it's just a
it's
mini game,
yeah,
basically.
it's he doesn't appear in the main game, but
Yeah.
there have been people that modded the game and put him in the main game. Of course, there are mods for
Oh, that
RE4
would have been that would be
where
so rad.
there are mods.
That would be terrifying too.
Yeah, where there are
That would
mods.
rival fucking that would rival the terror that you feel from the Iron Maidens.
Yeah.
But
But yeah,
all
in
right,
the original
anyway,
game, he only appears in that stage. But he's the reason why it's so hard to get. He's a big reason why it's so hard to get the hand cannon because you have to 5 stars that stage that he's in with Leon.
yeah.
Leon sucks. Leon's
Leon does suck.
in Mercenaries.
He's the
He's the
worst.
worst. He has like a handgun and a shotgun and that's it. And you got to fucking 5 star the stage with
Oh,
that
it's
guy
hard.
in it.
Even Luis is better than him.
It's hard to do it with yeah. The
Yeah,
only two people it's easy to get 5 stars with, in my opinion, is Krauser and Wesker.
Krauser and well Hunk.
Hunk. I was gonna say Hunk is pretty damn good too, but the rest of them,
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to get 5 stars with everybody with
yeah,
all 4 stages. But I've done it. I've done it multiple times, including just a few years ago on the PS4. But I don't know if I have any desire to do it anytime soon, ever again, because it's a chore.
yeah. Well, we got to put a wrap on this one. I got to give my girl her space back now.
Yeah, this was a long one. This one,
She's been kind enough
this
to be
is
patient with me. Yeah, I told her it was going to be a
awesome.
long one tonight.
This is like 3 hours almost.
Um, yeah, I want to get a call-in ranking on
We are.
Resident
I
Evil
mean, we
OG
are. We are.
and 4. I just want to hear it one more time. I love your
Yeah,
rankings.
the original is obviously a 10 out of 10, and it's. I would say that objectively and subjectively. Subjectively, am I saying that right? That word sounded.
Objectively means
I know what it
it's
means.
your opinion, and subjectively means that it can be anybody's opinion.
No, no, I think that's reverse.
Huh?
Reversed.
Oh yeah. Wait. What did I say?
Objectively is just like it's a fact. It's more like a fact.
Objectively is a fact, and
Subjectively, it's
subjectively
more.
means it's an
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
Did I say that backwards?
yeah. Well, whatever. We all
Oh,
make
I'm
mistakes.
cutting that.
No.
I'm not even dyslexic. No, I'm gonna keep it in, but I'm not
Yeah,
even
nobody
dyslexic. But
cares.
yeah,
10 out of 10.
nobody cares.
Obviously 10 out of 10. It's one of the most iconic games of all time. Not even just Resident Evil games. It's one of the most iconic games of all time. Dead Space was obviously inspired by it. The developers came out and said it. The evil like I think the Evil Within, it was Shinji Mikami, I know, but like I see hints of Resident Evil 4 and Evil Within. I see hints of Resident Evil 4 in a lot of games. A lot of other Resident Evil
Yes,
games even. 5 and 6 and 8. Like it's the most iconic Resident Evil game of all time, and I think it's one of the most iconic video games ever. And I think the video game world, is a much better place because of that game. It did so much for video games at the
absolutely,
time, and it's not my personal favorite Resident Evil, but it's up there. Like it's high up there, and it definitely deserves a 10 out of 10. And as for the remake, I pretty much feel that way about the remake also. I think it's a 10 out of 10 game. I think like I said before, I think I would say that the original it's just I just have too much nostalgic memories with the original, and I've played it so many more times. But so I do think I like the original a little bit more, but the remake is also fantastic, and the remake is in my top 10 favorite games of the last decade. So from 2015 to 2025, if I had to rank like my top 10 favorite games from 2015 to 2025, RE4 Remake would be in the top 10, as would RE2 Remake, as would RE7. Three of my top 10
Resident Evil 4 is definitely in my top 10. It's actually in my top 5.
of all time,
It is it's
or
in my top 2.
of all time.
My two most of all time.
Oh wow,
My
that's
my
yeah,
two
it's
most
good.
favorite games.
It's not up
My
there
two
for
most
me
favorite
of all
games.
time,
Resident
but
Evil 2,
I play a
Resident
lot.
Evil 4. Right
Yeah,
in that order.
yeah, yeah,
They're the
yeah.
games I play the most.
Yeah,
I play Resident Evil 2 and I play Resident Evil 4 more than any other game, and mostly the remakes. But
yeah,
well, mostly the remake of 4. But Resident Evil 2 original, Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 4 remake, I lump them all together. They're my favorite games of all time, all of them.
that's awesome.
So both
I
games.
think I
I
just
will definitely give Resident Evil 4 original a 10 all day.
absolutely,
I can't give it anything left. I can't give it anything less because
of
it
course,
is a damn near perfect game.
yeah,
And
it's
I'm going to
super
admit,
good.
whenever I heard they were remaking it, I even thought, why? What for?
Right,
But after playing it, I see why.
yeah,
So I give Resident Evil 4 remake a solid 10 out of 10 as well.
absolutely.
I think that
That's
these games are
understandable.
fucking superlative, and they're broad examples of what makes this series great. It's like a big grand James Bond movie. And the cherry on top for the remake for me, once you get through the game and then you get to the credits, that fucking song,
Yeah,
Bullet or the Blade. What a good song, man.
yeah, yeah. The
What a
music,
good song.
the save theme. We didn't talk about the save theme in RE4.
We didn't
The
talk about
music,
none of
the
that.
music is. Okay, let's talk about it right
Well,
now. The music is good. There, that's all we have to say.
the
Everybody already
the
knows the
save
music's
themes,
good. The save
the
themes,
save theme, the merchant's music, the
it's all
fucking
just incredible.
that song, that music that plays
So
whenever you're,
soothing.
it's soothing, but there's one of them. It's the bling, 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 whenever you're when you're buying things from the
Yeah,
merchant.
yeah,
It it is so melancholy, but yet so soothing. I can't explain. It's weird.
So
It's like a
good.
bunch of
I don't
just
think you really need to
nonsense
explain.
orchestrals. Yeah,
So many
and
people know what we're talking about, and they know the
and
music.
then the save theme music, it's right up there
Dun, dun,
in
dun,
the top
dun,
3
dun, dun,
of
dun,
the best save themes
dun,
are
dun,
for
dun,
me
dun,
RE2,
dun,
Code
dun.
Veronica, Resident Evil 4,
Two Code
Resident Evil
Veronica.
1.
Two Code Veronica 4, 1.
Yeah.
So 2 is your favorite?
Two's my favorite.
Code Veronica 4, 1.
Code Veronica's my second favorite. Four's my third favorite. Let me take that back. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is my fourth favorite, and then Resident Evil 1 is my fifth favorite.
That's a very good
But
list.
absolutely. But the music, the save music, and the music overall for this game, it's
Yeah,
intense at
there's a lot of
times.
good. There's
It's
a lot of good music.
odd at times. Sometimes it has a feel of like almost like a Silent Hill type thing, like with the noises, like whenever the Ganados are coming out, and it's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's intense.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
one other thing.
Yeah.
Assignment Ada. We forgot to talk about that too. There's not really much to say though, and
Ain't much to say about
and
it.
it wasn't in
Separate Ways
remake.
stole that thunder whenever they made it.
Assignment Ada is fun though.
Originally for the GameCube, there was just Assignment Ada. There was no Separate Ways.
Oh, was it? I did
Separate
not.
Ways was
So Assignment Ada came first then.
Assignment Ada came
I
first,
didn't know
and
that.
then whenever they made the PlayStation 2 version, that's whenever they introduced Separate Ways.
Yeah.
There wasn't a Separate Ways for the GameCube.
Assignment 8 is fun. It's just I don't. There's no
At
saving.
least that I'm
You got to
at
go
least
through it
I'm
all.
aware. At least that, as far as I'm aware, there wasn't a Separate Ways on a GameCube. I'm almost positive of
No,
that.
no, no. The original RE4 did not have separate ways. No, it
Yeah, I
wasn't
didn't think
until
so.
months later.
That wasn't until
I'm not
Resident Evil.
sure about Assignment Ada though.
That wasn't until Resident Evil 4 was released on PlayStation 2. I
Yeah,
think,
Assignment Ada is fun, but it's just like
and then they may have
there's nothing really
re-released
to
it for
talk
the
about it on. You
GameCube.
got to collect like what 4 or 5 Lost Plaga samples, and then that's
Yeah,
it. Like there's not much to talk
it's
about it.
fun. It's a
It
fun
is.
mini game for what it
It's
is.
yeah. If you've had enough of the main game and Separate Ways, check out Assignment
Yeah,
Ada. It's
but it's
just
not
more.
canon.
It's
Separate
more.
Ways is canon.
Yeah, it's more RE4 fun, but yeah, I guess that's why we didn't mention it because there's not really much to talk about it. There's some good music though,
Yeah,
and I like the theme
yeah,
song for Assignment Ada. It's really good, but yeah, and I like her outfit, her all black outfit that she wears in it.
yeah. It's pretty badass. It's like some
And for
James
those
Bond
who
shit.
think we're just rating every Resident Evil game, me especially, a 10 out of 10, that's because these are all some of our
That's
favorite
because
games.
they are tens. If you don't like it, don't listen.
Yeah, yeah. But it's seriously though, like it's because they truly are some of our favorite games of all time. Trust me, it's not always going to be 10 out of 10s. We're going to get into some games that are definitely not going to be 10 out of 10s, at least from me, anyways. I can't speak for you,
Yeah, like
but
Village. Village
Village,
comes to mind.
RE5, RE6, like we're going to get some games that are definitely not RE10 or RE10 that are
Hey,
not
you
10
leave
out.
RE5 alone. I like RE5.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I love all of them. I love RE6 even, and
I know you do.
that's my least favorite of the numbered entries, and I still like it. But I'm saying they're not all going to be 10 out of 10s. I promise you that. In fact, most of them aren't going to be 10 on 10s from here on out,
Well,
except for couple. Well, no, because we've already talked about the remake. So yeah, no. For me, most Resident Evil games from here on out, I don't think are going to be 10 out of 10s. There is one I can
no,
think of.
there's not too many more remakes that we can bring up right now until they actually remake Code Veronica. Please do that next, Capcom.
And
Oh,
RE1, 2, and 3 remastered, Capcom, please.
I was waiting for it. All right, so I'm gonna put an end to the podcast here.
Yeah,
It was
this was a
always good talking
long
to you,
one.
buddy.
Holy shit,
It
three
was a
hours
super
and
long one,
40
guys.
minutes or 3 hours.
We got through it the best we could. We lost our train of thought a little bit there for some of the shit. It's hard to kind of separate the remake from the original, especially
They
as
both
four
are
for
so
me
good, and we had
because
so much to say.
yeah, it's just so so much to both games.
Yeah.
Anything you want to plug, buddy, before we go?
Twitch, Colin. My Twitch is Colin BFG255. COLLIN BFG255. And
That's
YouTube
right.
is Colin255. Just Colin255. Colin is spelled with 2 L's, and I'm also on Twitter or X or whatever at Colin255. or at 255 Colin. I can't remember. I don't care about Twitter though. I mostly care about my YouTube and my Twitch. So yeah, Twitch.
He cares about his Twitch the most. I think he's always
Yeah,
on
my
there.
YouTube is Colin255, and then my Twitch is the same thing except there's a BFG in the middle. So Colin
Hmm.
BFG255, COLLIN, double L's.
And I'm Kenjira. That's KENJIRA 80. You can find me on Twitch as well from time to time.
Hell yeah.
The podcast here will be uploaded to YouTube. For those of you who do listen to us on YouTube, please give us a comment, leave a comment,
And
and share the podcast. And for those on Spotify, leave a review and give us a rating. It really helps to boost this channel's growth. We would like to have that. So we really appreciate you putting up with us for these last couple weeks with our what's this episode 5?
six.
Yeah, we're on
This one's
6 now.
six. Yeah, this one's six.
Okay, yeah, we really appreciate you putting up with us for the last couple weeks, and we look forward to having you back again for
And
more survival horror and Resident Evil discussions here
any idea what we're
at the
gonna do
podcast.
next, or are we gonna save that? It's a
Haven't
secret.
decided what we're going to do next, but I will let you know
And,
with great dispatch.
and anything you've been playing lately on Twitch? Wanna
I'm playing Symphony of the Night on
Castlevania
Twitch.
Symphony of the Night? It's first playthrough.
Yep. I'm playing Symphony of the Night, and I am playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Nice. I've been
Next,
playing Doom.
once I get through those, I will be playing Post Trauma.
Yeah, I just played Post Trauma. It was a pretty
And
decent
you got the
survival
fucking
horror game.
platinum already in one day, platinum man.
Yeah, I've been playing a game called Blueprints, which is a lot of people have been playing that these last 2 weeks because it's been blowing up.
I've been seeing that a lot of
A
people
lot of
playing
people are
that
playing
shit.
it. I'm done playing it
Was
now
it
because
good?
it is really good. It's a really good puzzle slash adventure slash
Because it's on Game Pass. I'll
roguelike
have to
game.
try it out.
It's good, but the thing is I have like 80 hours on it now, and the save kind of got corrupted to where it won't save anymore. So I'm gonna wait for a
See,
patch. But that was
you have
but that only happened after 80 hours of playing. So
you have PlayStation Plus Premium, but I
yeah,
have Essential because I
uh,
just buy all my games. But I do have Game Pass on Xbox, which is essentially premium because I don't own an Xbox anymore. So it's the only way I can play Xbox is having Game Pass and playing it on the iPhone,
hmm.
as you know. So Blueprints is on there, and I was thinking about playing it. But
uh,
anyway,
it's a good game. I don't know how much you would like it because there's no survival horror or anything. But
well,
if you can get it for free and try it out, then go ahead. But
yeah, well,
I
I
wouldn't
can play it
spend
for
money
free.
on it because I don't know.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a survival horror. If it has puzzles, I'm
It
okay.
has some puzzles. I think I would call it more of a roguelike though. So it's
Oh,
if you can get it for free and try it out, then go ahead. But
I don't
I don't think you should
I don't
spend
really
money
like
on
to
it.
play roguelikes.
Yeah,
It's
I don't know if it's
not
going
my
to be a
jam.
game you're going to be super into.
Well,
And
I
the
thought it was
puzzles
like a
are
point and click.
and the puzzles
I,
are crazy too. So
I
like
was
it's
thinking it
crazy
was like a
difficult.
point and click adventure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't
Kind
know.
of like
Maybe look up
Infernal
somebody's
Machine or
playthrough of
something.
it first. But yeah, I've also been playing
Anyway,
Doom, classic Doom. Been playing
oh yeah,
Doom mods. I've been playing a really difficult, notoriously difficult one for the first time called Sunlust. So that's also
Sunlust
that's what the Doom
looks
mod is
crazy.
called. It's 32 maps, 32 levels long, and they're all very difficult. And that's what I've been doing lately on Twitch. But anyways, yeah, we should wrap this up.
Yep. So come check us out on our Twitches, on our YouTubes. If you're listening, like I said, if you're listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, help a brother grow, help the bros grow
Help the poor
by giving
boys.
us a review and sharing the podcast.
Please
This
like,
has been
comment, subscribe.
yeah. Don't subscribe. Just share. Just share. Um,
Subscribe.
no, you can subscribe if you want. Subscribe.
Donate us.
Um,
Donate $1 million to us,
yeah.
please. Just kidding.
Yeah, we hope to grow the channel. So, anyway, thanks for hanging out with us and listening to us bumbling bros talk about Resident Evil 4. We will catch you next time on the next episode of the Biohazard Bros podcast.
Biohazard Brothers Podcast.